Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. It is FA Cup quarter-final time as West Ham host Leeds United at the London Stadium as both sides look to book their spot into the Final Four and a trip to Wembley. West Ham are looking to win at this stage in the FA Cup for the first time since March 2006 when they defeated Manchester City away from home by 2-1 when a Dean Ashton brace sent them into the semi-final. And it was in that year, in 2006, where West Ham reached their last FA Cup final when they were beaten on penalties against Liverpool after a 91st minute equaliser from Steven Gerrard to tie the game at 3-3. Fast forward 20 years and the Hammers under Nuno Espirito Santo are in a relegation dogfight, sat in 18th but just 1 point off Spurs in 17th. They have not won in their last two games but are looking to use this competition as a momentum builder for their league campaign. Leeds are also well involved in the relegation scrap. Despite sitting 15th in the table, they are only 4 points ahead of today's opponents, and for Leeds, they have lost their last three FA Cup quarter-finals, with their most recent last eight tie coming back in 2003 when they were beaten by Sheffield United, a game that at the time cost Terry Venables his job. But in current times, Daniel Farke's side have only won 2 of their last 8 in all competitions, and both of those wins have come in the FA Cup at home to Norwich in the last round and on their travels to Birmingham. The two teams have met just once so far this season, and that ended in a 2-1 victory for Leeds at Elland Road back in October last year. These two will meet again on the final day of the Premier League season, a game which could have massive implications on their survival status. But full focus is on the FA Cup, and on this Easter Sunday, will it be West Ham or Leeds to hop, skip and jump into the semi-final? West Ham certainly are the weaker of the two sides in terms of a starting 11. They're missing quite a lot of players coming back from the international break. Leeds are pretty much as strong as they can be. They've got a couple of usual starters on the bench, but for West Ham, a lot of their usual starters are completely out of the matchday squad, something we will go through in a little bit of time. But it's an FA Cup quarter-final. Both teams will be up for it. West Ham do have the advantage of playing at home, but I've heard that Leeds have been given 9,000 tickets for this game, and it looks like they've sold every single one of them, so it is going to be a raucous atmosphere in that away end for Leeds United. It's a 7-hour round trip for them on the roads down south to the London Stadium. They'll be looking to do another trip to London in a couple of weeks' time for that FA Cup semi-final. They'll be certainly hoping they can turn around some poor form. Like I say, only 2 wins from their last 8 in all competitions for Leeds, but at the minute they're drawing a lot of games. They've drew 3 of their last 5 in the Premier League, and they're struggling to score at the moment. They've just scored once in their last 5 Premier League games, and that's included not scoring in their last 4. The last time they scored in the Premier League, Leeds United, it was in their 1-1 away draw to Aston Villa. You might remember that very special Anton Stack free kick. That was all the way back on the 21st of February, almost 6 weeks ago now. And their last open play goal for Leeds United in the Premier League was in their 2-2 away draw to Chelsea back on the 10th of February. That was a goal from Noah Okafor in the 75th minute, just a tap-in pretty much into an open goal. So they are struggling to score goals at the moment, Leeds United, and their top scorer for this season is on the bench, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, returning from international duty back in the England squad. He hadn't played a game for England since Euro 2021 against Ukraine in the quarter-final stage, but he did come on for the last half an hour against Uruguay in the recent March international break. And for West Ham, they are plagued by injuries. So many youngsters and youth academy players on the bench. We'll go through starting 11s just in a moment, but in the league it's 18th against 15th. But in cup competitions, sometimes form and league table status doesn't really mean too much. Of course, we've had so many upsets in the FA Cup this year. Of course, Macclesfield knocking out Crystal Palace, and in fairness, Macclesfield coming very close to knocking out Brentford as well, who with the team that West Ham had to get beyond in the last 16 to reach the last 8 for West Ham. It took penalties to get past Brentford in the last round on the 9th of March, just around 3 weeks ago now, and it was almost 5 perfect penalties from Bowen, Castellanos, Wilson, Souček and Mavropanos. The only penalty in that shootout miss was from Dango Ouattara, that failed Panenka attempt for Leeds United. It was a pretty comfortable 3-0 victory against Championship side Norwich, who are one of the more informed teams in the Championship since the takeover from Philippe Clement, the former Rangers manager. 3-0 for Leeds United that day. Longstaff scoring, Goodmanson scoring, and also Piru. All three of those players not starting today. Longstaff and Piru are on the bench. Gabriel Goodmanson is out of the matchday squad altogether, alongside Dan James, as we're just under 4 minutes away from kick-off now, as it is going to be either Manchester City, Chelsea or Southampton. For either of these two teams, the draw will take place after this match, but it's certainly a fantastic opportunity for one of these two teams to make the FA Cup final. Obviously, if you look on paper at the teams that are left, as long as you dodge Manchester City, I'm sure they'd favour taking on Southampton or even Chelsea. They're not in the greatest form at the moment. I know they beat Port Vale yesterday by 7-0, but before that game, Chelsea had lost 4 on the bounce. So they're definitely a team that's slightly vulnerable at the moment, and they've got to play Manchester City next as well in the Premier League at Stamford Bridge next Sunday. So I think for these two teams, they'll be looking at it thinking, if we can avoid Manchester City and we can get through today, there's no reason why they can't make the FA Cup final. For West Ham United, their last quarter-final in any competition was in the League Cup, and they were beaten 5-1 at Anfield to Liverpool back in December 2023. But this is their first FA Cup quarter-final since 2016, when they were knocked out by Manchester United at Upton Park. It was a Marouane Fellaini winner. They also got to the quarter-final stage of the FA Cup in 2011, but were beaten by Stoke. And the last time they won in the FA Cup quarter-final stage was away at Manchester City back in March 2006. And for Leeds United, their last FA Cup quarter-final win for them was back in 1987, 39 years ago, when they won 2-0 away against Wigan Athletic. They did go on to lose the semi-final that year against Coventry after extra time, played at Hillsborough. So both of these teams starved of FA Cup success in recent years, but both have a fantastic opportunity to reach Wembley and go into the last 4 of the FA Cup. As we'll go through both sets of starting 11s now, we'll start with West Ham. It is their number 23, Alphonse Areola, in goal. He's only beaten Leeds once in his career, and that was when they met in the FA Cup third round back in the 21-22 season. A back 4 of Kyle Walker-Peters. At left back is El Hadji Malik Diouf, and 2 centre-halves of Max Kilman and Axel Disasi on loan from Chelsea. 2 older midfielders of Sungutu Magassa and Freddie Potts, with just ahead of them will be Mateus Fernandes, who one of his 3 Premier League goals this season came away at Leeds in that 2-1 defeat back in October last year. And then on the right-hand side will be captain Jared Bowen. He's not scored in any of his last 7 in the Premier League, but did score twice against Brentford in the 5th round of the FA Cup. On the left-hand side will be Adama Traore, brought in for a minimal fee in January. He's yet to score since joining, just making his 3rd start for West Ham, and all 3 of them now have come in the FA Cup. And up front, leading the line, brought in for £26 million in the summer from Lazio, it is Tati Castellanos. He scored twice in Serie A before joining West Ham, where he's got 3 goals, 2 in the Premier League against Liverpool and Burnley, and then once in the FA Cup victory against QPR in the 3rd round back in January. And for Leeds, it is Lucas Perry, their now goalkeeper, who plays in between the sticks. It's a back 3 of Joe Rodon, Yaka Biel and Pascal Strauch. 2 wing backs of Jaden Bogle on the right and James Justin on the left. 2 central midfielders of Ethan Ampadu and Anton Stark, with just a central midfielder playing slightly ahead of him, more in a bit of a 10 role, and that would be Ao Tanaka, who scored 2 goals in the Premier League in back-to-back games back in December against Liverpool and Chelsea. And 2 strikers, no Calvert-Lewin to start. He will be on the bench, and it'll be Lucas Mecha and Noah Okafor to lead the liners. All 11 Leeds United players make their way to the away section of the ground, and they lay 2 sets of flowers. That is the 26th year anniversary of the passing of Christopher Loftus and Kevin Spates, to Leeds United supporters who were tragically killed 26 years ago to the day in Istanbul when they were going to watch Leeds take on Galatasaray in a semi-final tie back in April 2000, and it's 26 years to the day that they were tragically killed, and Leeds did commemorate the deaths in their last home game, which was before the international break, but they're doing it again today as it is the 26th year anniversary. So 2 flowers laid behind the goal where the away fans are segregated for today's game, and it's a huge game for those Leeds United supporters who are wanting to get to Wembley. They've not got the greatest of records at Wembley. Leeds United, their last game at Wembley, you might remember, was their playoff final defeat to Southampton back in 2024. Their previous game at Wembley before that was a League One playoff final when they were beaten 1-0 against Doncaster. That was all the way back in May 2008. So even though they want to get to Wembley, Leeds United, they've not got the greatest of records there. But times have changed now. They're a much better outfit back in the Premier League, looking to stay in the Premier League. They're 15th in the league at the moment, but are just 4 points off the drop, and West Ham take that final relegation spot as it stands on 29 points. Leeds currently on 33 points. When these two teams met at Ellen Road, it was a 2-1 win for Leeds. They took an early lead through Brendan Aronson in the 3rd minute, then doubled it in the 15th minute through Joe Rodon. It was a Fernandez late consolation goal for West Ham. But as we fast forward now to April, we're in the FA Cup quarter-final. It's West Ham against Leeds at the London Stadium. It's West Ham to kick us off, kicking left to right. Leeds right to left. It's gone back to the goalkeeper, Areola. Sends a big kick forward towards the edge of the Leeds area. Headed away by Beale. Played back forward by Potts. Another header won by Beale. Volleyed forward by Magassa. And it will run all the way through and into the hands of Lucas Perry, who can catch. And it'll be Leeds United on the ball, building from the back. It's Perry. Played the ball back. And he'll bump it forward into the West Ham half. It's header won there by Potts. It's controlled by Metcher, and Anton Stack takes over, charging towards goal. It's a footing by Magassa, a tackle in from Kilman. It deflects towards the left-hand side for Leeds, where it's had to be cleared by Kyle Walker-Peters to make sure that Noah Okafor couldn't bring the ball down. And in the final third, on this near side, it's going to be a Leeds United throw-in, as Nuno Espirito takes on Daniel Farke for the 6th time. Farke has won 3 of the previous 5 meetings, and Espirito Santo has won just 1. As it's thrown into the box by Ampadu. Cleared away to the edge of the area where Castellanos can't take it off Okafor, who can bend a shot towards goal. And it's an important fingertip save from Alphonse Areola to send it behind for a corner. Almost on the score sheet early on, Noah Okafor. In the reverse meeting in the league at Ellen Road, it was a lead that Leeds took within 3 minutes. They almost took one within 90 seconds, bending it to the far corner just inside the 18-yard box. And it's a corner. And I must say, Espirito Santos won 3 of the 5 meetings against Farke. Farke's just won the 1, and that was in the previous meeting back in October. As the ball goes in, it's not cleared yet by West Ham and eventually falls into the gloves of Areola. So it is usually Espirito Santo who gets the better of Farke. Daniel Farke getting his first win against Espirito Santo back in the October as a loose ball by Potts. Can't quite find Diouf. And it's a throw-in for Leeds midway side the West Ham half on the far side. Taken by Bogle. Throwing it back into his own half here to Joe Rodon, who suffered a heartbreak during the international break as Wales lost their semi-final playoff game to Bosnia on penalties. It's Tanaka in between the lines looking for Okafor, lifts it away from Traore, but he can't quite get it beyond the Spanish winger, and it's now Traore on the right-hand side, kicks it off Justin, and that's going to be a throw-in for West Ham on this near side. Taken quickly by Walker-Peters, who gets the ball returned to him by Magassa. It's back to Disasi. Another Frenchman on the ball. Now it's Areola, who gets it towards his goal line and has to kick it out of play for a throw-in. Almost nicking in there. No Okafor with the sliding challenge to send it into the back of the net. A little bit too calm on the ball there, Areola. Okafor does have speed, and he almost stopped that ball from going out for a throw, and he almost put it into the back of the net. Got away with one there, Alphonse Areola. So it's going to be a long throw-in. It's going to be put in by Ethan Ampadu, also part of that Wales squad who lost the semi-final to Bosnia last week as it's headed away and it's not been able to be controlled by Stack, cleared by Traore. And it's going to be a throw-in for Leeds United once more, but further away from goal, so I don't think Ampadu's throw-in is quite that long. And they're going to restart, throwing it into their own half to Roden. It's now Beale, the middle of the three centre-backs, going to his left to Strauch. Turns to face forward, plays it to Justin on the near side. Ball down the channel for Okafor, intercepted by Disasi, who now gets the ball from Magassa. And it's now West Ham's turn to go all the way back into their 18-yard area to Areola. Dinks it forward beyond the halfway line towards no one in a West Ham shirt, and it can be seen through by Strauch, who can calmly take the ball under control and play it across to one of his centre-back partners of Jaka Biol, the Slovenian centre-half who played every minute for Slovenia in the international break against Montenegro and Hungary. Now Roden, one of the scorers when these two last met back in October, scoring to make it 2-0 in the 15th minute for Leeds United, one of their 7 Premier League wins so far this season. And in the Premier League they've won just 1 away game so far out of 15, and that was against Wolves back in September, a 3-1 win. The 2 other away wins have come in cup competitions. As West Ham just sat back, allowing Leeds to have the ball within their own half, and then it's a ball into the West Ham half, well chested down by Disasi to intercept, and he'll bring the ball forward beyond the halfway line, trying to play it down the left-hand side. Deflected back to him as he was looking for Bowen in behind. He's just taking up a left-wing position at the start of this game, Jared Bowen. And he gets the ball here from Diouf, returns it to the Senegalese full-back. It's cleared away by Roden. It's a throw-in the final third for West Ham on the far side. I'm going to assume that there'll probably be an interchanging pattern between Bowen and Traore on which flank they play on. At the moment, it's Bowen on the left, trying to play through here with Diouf, and it gets into space, into the box. Angle's tight, it's played across. It's a huge save, and it's cleared. Castellanos coming close. That's a massive reaction save from Perry. Walker-Peters on the right-hand side, onto his left foot, crossing the ball in. It's a volley away by Strauch. And despite having a frustrating season this campaign, Lucas Perry, the goalkeeper, who was brought in for just over £15 million from Lyon, he's just made a huge reaction save to keep it at 0-0 just less than 6 minutes in. Almost certain that he was going to score there, Tati Castellanos, after the ball into the box from Bowen. It's been a positive start from both, as Walker-Peters dinks it up towards Traore. Bullies Justin off the ball and plays it inside to Magassa. In the middle of the park, time on the ball, he's going to play out to the left-hand side to Diouf. Touch out of his feet and a cross goes in, headed on by Bowen, volleyed by Justin. As far as Magassa, 25 yards out, back out to the left to Diouf. It's a good ball and it's kept in by the number 12. Try to get around Bogle, he kicks it off the number 2. And that's going to be a corner kick on the far side. And we're going to get a replay of this save. Bowen with a low ball to the near post. He was just able to put out a right boot towards goal, and Perry with a strong left hand to avoid the ball going into the back of the net. That's a terrific save from the Brazilian 6'6" goalkeeper to stop the Argentine striker from scoring his 4th West Ham goal since joining from Lazio in the January window. It's going to be an in-swinger now from Fernandez. In it goes to the 6-yard box. It's headed on by Kilman towards the back post, where it's nodded out wide by Stack, and it will be cleared with his left foot. Down the Leeds left, it's going to be a free ball for Anton Stack to clear, and for Walker-Peters to control, but there's an offside flag up from the linesman on this near side. So it's going to be a free kick for Leeds United, who have beaten Derby in the 3rd round 3-1 away from home, and then beat Birmingham on penalties in the 4th round at St Andrews, taking the lead through Metra in the 49th minute, but then a late equaliser from Roberts sent it to extra time, and then penalties there where they won 4-2 on spot kicks. Goals from Piru, Calvert-Lewin, Aronson, and also Longstaff, as Perry with a big kick into the West Ham half up towards Mecha, who wins the header, but is volleyed away by Potts into the Leeds half, up towards Castellanos, who controls and then lifts it over towards Traore. But there's a foul given there by today's referee, Craig Pawson. Bit too physical there. Tati Castellanos on Yacobillo. And Leeds United have the free kick. It's with their left centre-half of this back three of Pascal Struijk, who has started 19 of the last 20 Premier League games. Came on as a late sub against Norwich in the 5th round. That's his only FA Cup appearance so far this season. As on the left-hand side, it's Okafor playing it back into to Tanaka. And then back once more to Struijk. Across into the centre circle now to Biol. Plenty of time on the ball for the Slovenian. It's now Roden. Back into Biol on the halfway line. Till he's right to Roden. Forward to Bogle, round the corner, looking for Mecha. Touches it into Ampadu. Tanaka out to this left-hand side to Okafor. One-on-one with Walker-Peters into the area towards the byline. On his left foot, he crosses into the far post. It goes beyond everyone. And it's going to be dealt with here by Bowen on the far side, who clears it away from Roden, but all as far as Tanaka on this far side. Going back into Biol. And then out wide once more to Tanaka. Roden forward from centre-back. Playing a 5-yard ball into Tanaka. Ampadu to Tanaka once more. He had a successful international break with Japan, beating Scotland and England, playing the majority of the game against Scotland, then coming on as a late sub for the last 20 minutes at Wembley against England, when they won by a 0-0. A famous win. Pretty sure it was the first time an Asian team have beaten England in international football. Struijk forward through to Tanaka in between the lines, and it's now with Okafor on this left-hand side around the West Ham defence to find a ball towards Justin. The cross is stopped by Magassa, then cleared by Disasi. It's going to be given chase to here by Traore. Header forward by Struijk. Ampadu on the second ball. He tries to volley it back towards his own goalkeeper. It loops in the air. Castellanos puts pressure on Biol, and it's dealt with in the end by Roden with a header away. Chested down by Okafor, pulled to the ground by Walker-Peters, and that's going to be a free kick given by Craig Pawson. Pleads his innocence there, Kyle Walker-Peters, who joined in the summer, signing a 3-year deal after spending some time with Southampton. It's under 11 minutes in, still West Ham 0, Leeds 0. We've only had one draw in the last 8 fixtures between these two sides, and that came back in January 2023. A 2-2 draw. And the FA Cup head-to-head meetings between these two. West Ham have won 2 of the 4. We've had a draw and then a Leeds win. First time these two met in the FA Cup was back in 1924, a 1-1 draw at West Ham. And then 4 days later, Leeds won the replay by a 0-0. Their most recent FA Cup meeting was in January 2022, a 2-0 win for Leeds United. For West Ham United, sorry. Still Leeds in possession, just inside their own half here with Biol. Again, loads of time on the ball for the number 15. Ampadu out to the right to Bogle, who takes it into the West Ham half, charging down the right-hand side for Leeds, trying to find a ball towards Stack, deflects back to Bogle. Roden forward to Bogle, fantastic ball and a good turn as well. Shifts it into Mecha, can't quite return it to Bogle. It's now with Fernandez, tackled quickly by Tanaka, forward by Ampadu to Stack on this right-hand side. Fancies a delivery into the box. It goes in and it's a header away by Walker-Peters, gathered by Magassa, forward to Traore, who can get around Struijk, can drive towards goal. He gets away from the challenge of Ampadu. Traore's got Bowen to his left, plays it into the number 20. Jared Bowen, shot! Goes in across goal, and it's saved again by Perry. That's 2 huge saves from the Brazilian. The West Ham attack again on the left-hand side. Diouf into Bowen. Crosses low. Castellanos with the overhead kick as it flicks up for it. And it's going to be a free kick for Leeds United, given as a high boot, as the overhead kick went more towards the head of Biol than the ball. But that is exactly what Adama Traore can do with his strength and pace. Completely ripped through the Leeds United defence, then laid it off to his left to Bowen, who had a shot across goal. It was low driven, it had power. And Again, down low to his left, Perry. Brilliant save. Recently been turned into the number 2 goalkeeper at Leeds, Lucas Perry, with Carl Darlow coming in as the number 1 since the middle of January. Pascal Strout takes it out of the Leeds 18-yard box and brings the ball forward under no pressure at all as he makes his way to the halfway line, plays a pass into Metcha. Strout again, is now just in the left wing-back position, tackled by Traore. Last touch comes off. Traore, I believe, and that's going to be a Leeds United throw-in. As for Leeds, they have won just 2 of their last 14 Premier League games, beating Forest at home at the start of February, and then also beating Fulham in the middle of January. But out of those 14 games, they've drew 8 of them, losing 4, picking up just 14 points from their last possible 42. As Metcha feeds the ball out wide right to Bogle. First time cross goes in, it's low, cleared by Disasi, helped on by Fernandez on the edge of the area, flicks it to the left to Bowen. Plays it forward to Traore, who's in space on the left-hand side. Plays it down the flank, looking for Castellanos. It's a misplaced pass. Well dealt with there by Biol. And it's back with the Leeds United goalkeeper, Lucas Perry. Certainly chances for West Ham on the break. They've got the pace for it. And spaces are opening up for them when they win the ball back within their own half. As it's Struijk, the former Dutch under-17 international, the number 5 for Leeds, born in Belgium, but left the country to move to the Netherlands at the age of 3. Spent a year and a half at Ajax before leaving the Dutch Giants to come and play football at Leeds United. Biol misplaces a pass intercepted by Castellanos towards the byline. It's a strong tackle from Biol. And that's going to be a throw-in for West Ham in the final third on the left-hand side. Certainly seems up for this game. Tati Castellanos, the £26 million man from Lazio in January. Scored 22 goals for the Italian side in 98 appearances. It's Max Kilman, just in front of the halfway line for West Ham. Goes across to Disasi, who's been a brilliant loan signing from Chelsea. Brought in the January window. It's his second time facing Leeds for Axel Disasi. The other time was in the FA Cup in a 3-2 win for Chelsea in the 5th round back in the 23-24 season as Diouf puts it into the area. It's Castellanos to chest and volley, and over the bar it goes. Flag is up for offside. But it's a positive start for both. Leeds United having a lot more of the ball, forcing an early save from Alphonse Areola after a shot that curled towards the far post from Okafor. And since then, West Ham have had chances of their own. Castellanos with a poked shot towards goal, well saved by Perry, and another shot saved by Perry from Bowen. So both of these teams certainly showcasing their qualities when going forward. They've certainly got players that can hurt both of the defences. Leeds United on the ball, just inside their own half on the far side. Roden lifting the ball forward. It's headed away by Potts, controlled by Bogle. Into Roden. Ball forward. Does it take a nick off a West Ham man? It does. Throw in just inside the West Ham half for Leeds United. But for Leeds United, they won at West Ham back in January 2022, a 3-2 winner. Jack Harrison hat-trick. But before that, their last win against West Ham away from home was back in November 2002 in the Premier League in a 4-3 win. That's almost 24 years ago now. Bogle winning the ball back for Leeds. A misplaced pass there, I think, from Freddie Potts. It's now Bogle. Furthest wide right is Tanaka. Everything to his left. Plays it back inside to Bogle on the edge of the area. Swarmed by 2 West Ham players, but it can work its way to Stack. Back to Tanaka. Edge of the area to Bogle. He's got his back to goal. Plays a 10-yard pass to Roden. Forward to Tanaka. On once more to Stack. Forced to go back once more to Tanaka. It's now with Roden as they work their way back towards the halfway line. Roden to Tanaka. Stack. Tackled by Magassa. And it played forward to Castellanos. It's now Fernandez trying to play ball back through towards Castellanos. He couldn't quite time his run right, and the ball went through to Leeds United defence instead. Certainly spaces around for Tati Castellanos to take advantage of in this game as Ampadu works it to Stack, now out to the right flank to Bogle, midway inside the West Ham half. Tanaka to Roden, ball forward to Metcha, turning away from Kilman, then being dragged to the floor, and that's going to be a free kick for Leeds United. Well won there by Lucas Metcha, starting his 4th game in a row now in the FA Cup, scoring the once against Birmingham City in the 4th round. Does have 6 league goals this season, Lucas Metcha. Not scored since Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge in the middle of February. Did go on a run of scoring 3 in a row in November, scoring against City, Villa and Forest. Just less than 20 minutes in, still goalless, but both teams enjoying spells of possession, spells of attacking play. And we know Stack can hit free kicks from afar. This might be a bit too far. It's about 35 yards out, pretty much right down the middle of the pitch. Not much of an angle for the German international, who goes for the low one. Blocked by Potts, and it drops to Fernandez, who's brought to the ground by Justin. And this time it's going to be a free kick for West Ham, as Anton Stack this season has scored 3 free kicks, all in the Premier League. The most recent one against Aston Villa. That's the last time that Leeds United scored a goal in the Premier League, and that was about 6 weeks ago. They've really struggled to score goals, this Leeds United side, as they've lost it. West Ham United deep within their own half. It's now on the left-hand side of Okafor. He's going to run at Walker-Peters. A couple of step-overs onto his right foot. He then crosses it in, and it deflects to the back post, where Diouf heads it to his goalkeeper, and Alphonse Areola just about avoids the corner. Had to get his arm across quick to stop it from going out of play. A long direct ball up towards Castellanos. He loses out to Biel. And the away side are back in possession, as Leeds United have won 50 games against West Ham United, just winning 2 of the last 4 in October 2025 and then in January 2022. Bogle allowed to play it through the middle for Justin, who's drifted into a more central area, then dinks it out wide left to Okafor, who again is isolated with the full back of Walker-Peters. Onto his right foot, crosses again just over the head of Stack. Diouf having to deal with Bogle. Bogle has it, turns to face forward, trying to shoot, and it's blocked by Bowen, and he hurries a clearance away. And it's going to be Tanaka to head it back up into the air, controlled by Castellanos, who then catches Roden in the face as he tried to flick the ball back into his own path. It's going to be a free kick for Leeds United, just over 21 minutes in, still goalless at the London Stadium. Bit of a nervous look on the face of Nuno Espirito Santo, who has reached 2 FA Cup semi-finals in his career, with Wolves in 2019 and Forest last season. Stack delivers it in, glanced on by Ampadu, touched down by Roden, can be cleared by Magassa, all as far as Tanaka. He's got Okafor on this near side, and he finds the Swiss international, who's been a nuisance for the West Ham defence early on, forcing a good save within a minute from Alphonse Areola, dinked into the area, chested down by Justin, who's just been forced out of the box by Diouf. Plays it back into Bogle on his right foot. Cross deflects off Bowen to Biel, to Roden, so still in possession for Leeds United. Strauch on the near side. Down the line for Okafor, who will get there ahead of Walker-Peters. Playing the ball back into Tanaka. Certainly dominating the possession in the early exchanges, Leeds United. Okafor again running at Walker-Peters, goes on the outside, crosses left-footed, comes off the West Ham number 2. And that's going to be a corner for Leeds. And it seems like if anything's going to materialise, it's going to come from the Leeds United left-hand side with Noah Okafor. Signed for £18 million in the summer from AC Milan. Scored just 7 in 54 appearances for the Italian Giants. Starting just 12 of his 54 appearances for AC Milan. It's going to be an in-swinger from Anton Stack. Ball goes into the 6-yard area, punched by Areola. And it's going to be a stoppage. I'm not sure who the foul's on, but Strauch and Potts is down. I think it's been given as a West Ham free kick. I have to see it again. Yeah, Strauch just running straight into Areola and Potts. I don't quite know what the Leeds number 5 is doing, in all honesty. And that's a rightly given free kick for West Ham United, who have lost their last 2 FA Cup quarter-finals to Manchester United in 2016 and Stoke in 2011. But they do like Wembley. They've only lost 3 times at Wembley in their 10 appearances. And that excludes the 2 times they played at Wembley against Tottenham, when Spurs were using it as their home while they built their Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Their most recent win at Wembley for West Ham was in their playoff final back in 2012. 24 minutes in, still goalless between West Ham United and Leeds United. It's with the left-back Diouf playing the ball forward to the halfway line, chested down by Castellanos. It's Potts with a loose touch and he loses out. It's Tanaka to play it forward to Mecha, who's tackled, but the ball falls back to Tanaka. Okafor now into the run of Justin, into the box on the left-hand side. He goes for the ball in, and it just avoids everyone in a blue shirt. And it's a goal kick for West Ham. Probably just a bit too much on it there from Justin, who's made a positive run from the left wing-back position. Another new signing this season for Leeds. £8 million from Leicester. Just got the 1 goal so far in the Premier League, Justin. That was away at Everton towards the end of January. But he's also got a goal in the FA Cup when they beat Derby in the 3rd round, 3-1 at Pride Park. Big kick forward from Areola. Header won by Strauch. Control on the halfway line by Diouf. He's going to be closed down here by Stack, and he'll get his body across the Senegalese international. And it's now Leeds back in possession. Rodham into Tanaka. Round the corner for Mecha. Tackled by Kilman. Ball drops to Ampadu. Rodham to Tanaka in the centre circle. Playing a left-footed ball into the space for Justin, who's got Okafor making an overlapping run. And he'll find the Swiss international. First time ball into the area. Tanaka wants to shoot onto his left foot. He deflects off the bar and in. And Leeds United have the advantage in the FA Cup quarter-final. They have been the team who have been dominating the possession. And their possession has earned themselves a goal. Our Tanaka, who scored in the 3rd round against Derby, now scores in the quarter-final stage. And on his 70th appearance for the club, he scores for the 9th time. And he was the one who started the move out to the left-hand side with the ball from the centre circle, finding Justin. He played the overlapping run of Okafor, who played a first-time pass into Tanaka, who had to get away from Magassa, and then had the shot with his left foot, which took a nick off Axel Disasi, and wrong-footed Areola struck the underside of the crossbar and in. The ball might not have even hit the net, but it certainly went over the line. And in a game where there's a Wembley spot up for grabs, it's Leeds who have took advantage. And they take the lead. It's West Ham 0, Leeds United 1. I mean, it's probably deserved in terms of the amount of possession they've had, but that doesn't mean that West Ham haven't come close themselves to scoring, because Castellanos and Bowen have had 2 strikes superbly saved by Perry. But if you're looking at the possession stats, Leeds have made it count. Of course, there's good fortune with the goal. The fact it deflected off Disasi and beyond Areola, but Tanaka with some tidy feet in the box to work the space to get the shot off at goal. That's his 2nd goal this season in the FA Cup. But that one's a huge goal for Leeds United. Coming into the starting 11, been starved of minutes. Tanaka. He came off the bench in their last game against Brentford in the Premier League, but before that he hadn't come off the bench in any of their previous 7 in the league. The majority of his minutes have come in the FA Cup. And he's been trusted again today, and he's won the ball back for Leeds United, tackling Potts, and it's gone against him. The referee's given a free kick. Not sure about that. He was just inside the West Ham half. I think he's won the ball. I really don't think that's a free kick. Got away with that, Freddie Potts, who has got a lot of promise in this West Ham team, the 22-year-old, but certainly so far today, he's just not quite been at the races, Freddie Potts, a West Ham United Academy graduate who joined the club at the age of 6 back in 2009. Was sent off against Burton in the 4th round when they just edged their way through in extra time after a Somerville winner, who they'll be missing massively today. Crescencio Somerville, formerly of Leeds United. Areola playing it to his left to Kilman, keeping it away from Stark, and then playing a right-footed ball forward. It's deflected back into his own half here by Tanaka. It'll be reached by Roden, who can kick it off Bowen, and both will chase it towards the corner flag. Roden will get there first, spin and clear, and it's a throw-in for West Ham United. Arms crossed there for Espirito Santo, who had won all 4 of his previous 4 meetings against Leeds before that game at Ellen Road at the start of this season. One of his earlier games as West Ham boss. Max Kilman, everyone behind the ball for Leeds. Just inside the centre circle is Fernandez. Plays a 10-yard pass with right to Disasi. Forward to Walker-Peters, goes back into Disasi, the man who the ball deflected off for the goal. It's clipped forward by Fernandez towards Castellanos, heads it down, can't find a West Ham shirt. It's now with Justin after a touch from Tanaka. Clearance blocked by Magassa. Throw in the left-back position here for Leeds as we've hit the half-an-hour mark, and it's West Ham 0, Leeds 1. Some huge games coming up for both. West Ham have got Wolves at home next up, and Leeds have got to travel to Old Trafford on the 13th of April, next Monday. As Leeds have cleared it forward, all the way back to Areola in the West Ham goal. Played into Traore, who wins the header but can't reach Bowen. Now Justin, who hooks it away. Up towards Metcha, met by Disasi. Magassa gives it away on halfway. Play back to Joe Roden. Spent 4 years at Spurs. Included in that time at Spurs, he had a loan spell in France with Stade Rennes. Long ball for Leeds. Both Disasi and Metcha misses it. So it runs through for Walker-Peters, who goes across to Kilman, who goes back into Alphonse Areola. It will kick the ball long. Up towards Traore. Header won by Strout confidently. Up towards Metcha, who loses out to Disasi. And it's now Walker-Peters, who will return it to Areola once more. Spent the majority of his career coming through at PSG. Had a year season loan at Real Madrid back in the 2019-2020 season. Was for a long time a part of the France setup as well as the second/third choice goalkeeper. He's not been in the France squad though, Alphonse Areola, since October 2024. Was part of that World Cup winning side in 2018. As Potts sent a diagonal ball over the top for Bowen, who will chase it and he will get there first. He'll avoid the ball going out of play, kicks off Bogle. And that will be a throw-in right next to the corner flag on the far side for West Ham. It was superbly won there by Jared Bowen, who gets the ball now from the throw-in. Right-footed pass into the area, deflects back to him off. I think that was Ampadu. Potts out to this near side now to Walker-Peters. Not got much support around him. Has to go backwards here with Potts to deliver it in. It's a great ball in. It avoids everyone. And it will be kept in play on the far side by Diouf. 1-2 Castellanos. Still with Diouf. Plays into Castellanos again in the area. Loses out to Stack, who will drive forward with the ball and plays a pass in towards Metcha. Sliding challenge from Potts, and it plays it straight through to Okafor. He's got options right and left. He goes for Stack on the right. Will he get there ahead of Kilman? He will! Oh, and it's a great save. Stack holding his right leg as there was a challenge on him as he had the shot. Areola was the one who saved it. Potts tried to do the good thing of getting a sliding challenge in, but he just played it into the space for Okafor instead, who probably should have held on to it a bit longer because he had Metcha to his left. Instead played it to the right to Stack, who got the shot there ahead of Kilman, who's gone right through the player as he's had the shot. maybe shouts of a penalty. He's completely swiped him out after the ball was gone. Areola had the shot saved. And VAR are having a look. It's Konstantin Hatzidakis who's having a look, alongside Stuart Atwell, the two officials in the VAR booth. Stack hurt after that challenge. Like I said, the ball had well gone and Kilman was already sliding in and completely took the player out. But Leeds United already looking more of a goal-scoring threat. Like I said, they hadn't scored in open play in the league since February the 10th away at Chelsea. Of course, they've scored in open play in their FA Cup games against the likes of Birmingham and also Norwich. But against Premier League opposition and in the Premier League, they've struggled to score from open play. Like I say, just scoring 1 in their last 5 Premier League games. So Stack's still down receiving treatment. I'm not sure if VAR have waved this away or they're still having a look, but Stack seems in a lot of pain after that sliding tackle from Kilman. Been a fantastic buy. Anton Stack from Hoffenheim, £17 million. Got back in the Germany squad and appeared for them in the March international break. His previous appearance for Germany was back in June 2022, but he's been reintroduced into the squad and came on against Switzerland in the recent friendlies. I think VAR have had a look and said no to any penalty shouts. I see where the shouts are coming from, because Stack's had the shot and then's been taken out. He was nowhere near the ball, Kilman, but maybe the fact that the shot was already well taken, that's why the VAR have ignored it and instead given a corner kick to Leeds United on the near side. They will be without Stack, who usually takes the corners, especially the in-swingers, but this time it's going to be the goal scorer Tanaka. 10 minutes to go till the break. Tanaka with the delivery into the 6-yard box. It's header up into the air and then headed away by Disasi. And it's going to be rolling out of play and it's going to be a throw-in for Leeds United. Seen out by Bogle. Still moving very gingerly on the ball. Anton Stack, the 27-year-old. Never scored in the German Cup during his time over in his home nation. As in terms of replacements, they've got Ilya Gruev, they've got Sean Longstaff, Brendan Aronson as well they can bring on. It does look like it is going to be the American Brendan Aronson if Stack can't continue, as the long throw goes in. It's Metcher with the shot and it's well over the crossbar. And it's going to be a goal kick for West Ham. It seems like they've got a really good balance up there. We've got Okafor, who's kind of leaning more towards the left-hand side, but he's more that pacey, agile player. Then you've got Metcher, who's strong, physical, can compete with the likes of Disasi and Kilman. So Leeds are down to 10 as it stands. Stack still not back on the pitch as he stands on the far side with the Leeds medical staff. As West Ham try and build an attack and to try and form their own opportunity to equalise in this game. Stack works his way back onto the pitch. It's with Walker-Peters for West Ham. Forward for Traore. Drives inside away from Justin, then plays it back through for Walker-Peters, who lifts it to the back post where it's going to be controlled by Juve just outside the 18-yard box. To the edge of the area, to Magassa. Now Kilman, who crosses with pace towards Traore, who gets there but volleys it into the sky and in and behind for a goal kick. Still looking for his first West Ham United goal, Adama Traore. Not scored in any of his previous 8 against Leeds. Adama Traore, who's got just the 1 FA Cup goal in a 1-0 win against Crystal Palace in the 3rd round back in January 2021. And that was for Leeds. That was for Wolverhampton Wanderers. He scored 10 in his previous 140 games under Nuno Espirito Santo. Traore, to be fair, it was just always a little bit too far ahead of him. Did well to get contact on the ball. as that late challenge from Kilman, which has not given Leeds United a penalty, has forced Anton Stack off the pitch. So Anton Stack comes off and he's replaced by Brendan Aronson, who didn't come off the bench against Norwich in the last round, but he's come on this time around. Obviously, with America in the recent international break. Played 11 minutes off the bench against Portugal. So he's not seen as a starter under Pochettino in the USA setup, but he usually is for Leeds United. More so when they play in the Premier League, that's when he's a nailed-on starter, Brendan Aronson. As Perry, big kick for Leeds, up towards Justin, header won by Walker Peters. Now Magassa in the middle of the park, going back to Kilman on his left foot, playing a ball forward to Bowen, back to goal, plays the ball to Diouf, and then down the line for Potts, who's going to get there ahead of Tanaka, the goal scorer. Here's Potts into the final third in the left wing position. Not much support around him. Plays it to the edge of the box to Bowen, who's been given time to shoot. Drags it, deflects. Kept alive by Disasi, caught late, but the referee will play advantage. Walker Peters, ball goes in, and the shot just takes a nick off Beale. Didn't quite catch it. Mateus Fernandez. And that's going to be an easy save, but the play will be stopped as Disasi was caught late by Metcha, as he kept that attack alive for West Ham. Bit of a striker's tackle there from Metcha. Just didn't quite get there. Scythe down Axel Disasi. Who started 7 out of 7 in the Premier League for West Ham. Disasi came off the bench against Burton in the 4th round, but then played the full 120 minutes against Brentford in the previous round, as Lucas Metcha does get a yellow card for that late tackle. So 5 minutes to go. It's West Ham 0, Leeds United 1. Ayo Tanaka with the only goal of the game in the 26th minute. Slice of luck with the shot as it took a deflection off Disasi and off the crossbar in him. But Perry has been forced to make 2 really important saves himself in the Leeds United goal. As back underway, Justin just about pokes it back to Strauch. Into the middle to Ampadu. Ambushed by West Ham players, but keeps it moving to Justin. Keeps it away from Walker Peters, then goes back to Strauch, who blasted off Magassa. Throwing in the defensive third for Leeds. It's good pressing there from West Ham United. The last 4 games for West Ham at home have ended in draws. Against Manchester City in the league, then Brentford in the FA Cup, then Bournemouth and Man United in the league as well. They are unbeaten in their last 6 at home in all competitions, after 2 wins from the previous 11. Traore. Touch is loose and it's cleared up the pitch by Ampadu. Last touch comes off Disasi, and that's going to be a throw-in for Leeds United. Midway inside the West Ham half on this near side. It's going to be taken by their number 24, James Justin, who also scored in the FA Cup last season for Leicester. Scored a brace against QPR in the 3rd round. And scored again in the 3rd round this season. Just the one, though, for Leeds in that win against Derby. Is Okafor. Shifts it to Tanaka. Back to Okafor. Tries to play it back forward to Tanaka, but it's intercepted by Fernandez. Another throw-in for Leeds. Justin throws it towards Metcha. Dispossessed by Disasi. Flicks it forward to Bowen, whose misplaced pass can be attacked by Bogle, who tries to play a ball in. Bit too much on it for Aronson and Metcha. And it'll roll for a goal kick for West Ham. Not the worst of ideas there from Jayden Bogle. Reading-born wing-back. Released by the club at the age of 14, but has gone on and played for the likes of Sheffield United for 4 years, reaching the semi-final with them back in 2023. Being knocked out by the treble-winning Manchester City that year. Big kick from Ariola. Header won on the halfway line by Justin. Throwing on this near side for West Ham. It's going to be taken by Walker Peters. former England international, played 2 times for England during the Southgate days back in March 2022, playing against Switzerland and the Ivory Coast. Disasi goes down again, another free kick for West Ham, the guilty party of Metcha, playing it quickly in the middle of the parks for Kilman, allowing Magassa to take over in the centre circle. To the left to Diouf. He's got advanced runs ahead of him. He's going to go for a cross himself. It's Castellanos to control and shoot. Just always leaning back. Over the bar it goes. Feeding off scraps a little bit in this first half. Tati Castellanos, who's having a constant battle with Jaka Biot. Not miles away, but just always rising. And over the bar it went from the Argentine. Another player who used to play for the Argentina senior team. Tati Castellanos came on as a late sub against Chile in September 2024. And his last appearance was against Paraguay in November 2024. As the 4th official, Peter Banks, is about to indicate how much is going to be added on at the end of this half, as we've got 50 seconds until we've played all 45 minutes. Tanaka can play it forward to Okafor, bullied off it by Walker Peters. It's now Castellanos on the halfway line. Tackled by Tanaka, brilliant challenge from the Japanese international. And he now has the ball again in the middle of the park. Outside of the boot ball looking for Metcha. Tackled by Disasi. Traore. Magassa. Out wide to Walker Peters. Into Fernandez, who's been slightly quiet so far in this first half. Pushing the back there from Okafor. Tackled then by Justin. And that's going to be a throw-in for West Ham. Been one of their better players this season. One of their more consistent players, Mateus Fernandez. Signed for £42 million from Southampton, a team who knocked out Arsenal last night to reach the semi-finals. Bowen into the space for Diouf, running one-on-one with Bogle. Into the final third, Diouf puts it right across the 6-yard box. It's a teasing ball, no one commits to it, and they roll out for a goal kick. It's a really good ball from El Hadji Malik Diouf, who's collected 5 assists this season in the Premier League. As we've had 4 minutes indicated from the 4th official, Peter Banks. But there is a lot of history with West Ham in this competition. They played in the first game at Wembley in 1923, which was the FA Cup final that year when they lost to Bolton by 2-0. West Ham have won the FA Cup 3 times. Most recently was in 1980 against Arsenal, a 1-0 win. Trevor Brooking with the goal in the 13th minute. And in the other 2 years that they've won it, in 1975, 2-0 win against Fulham, and then in 1964 when they beat Preston by 3-2. Last 2 seasons, they've been knocked out in the 3rd round, so it's a bit more of an advanced run this time around for West Ham as a ball into the area, deflects off Disasi and into the gloves of Areola. Areola puts the ball onto the floor. Plenty of time here for the number 23. Long ball forward. It's a high one up towards Castellanos, who can glance it on. Traore will chase it. Biol gets there first. Plays it back to his goalkeeper, Perry, in a full orange kit tonight. Kicks it long himself, but the header's won by Disasi. Hooked over the head of Magassa. Controlled by Strauch. Closed down by Fernandez. Can play it to Tanaka, whose loose ball finds its way to Fernandez. Ball forward to Castellanos. It's now Magassa on the right wing. Inside to a more central position to Fernandez. Finds Bowen. About 22 yards out. Shifts it to the left to Diouf. Fernandez, Diouf, back into Kilman, who quickly just swings it to his right to Disasi. Back the same way to Kilman. Then to Disasi again. Walker Peters. Wanting more options, doesn't have many of them. So forced to go to the left centre-back of Kilman. 90 seconds to go of the first half. Diouf forward to Fernandez in a left wing position. Onto his right foot, then onto his left foot. Crosses, it's a deep one. He's overcooked it. Glanced by Justin. It's going to be kept in by Walker Peters. Goes on to the angle to Magassa, who puts a ball into the box. Castellanos can flick it towards goal, and Bowen can't quite get there ahead of the goalkeeper, but the flag has gone up anyway, so even if he had got the ball in the back of the net, it wouldn't have stood. First real look in at goal for a while For West Ham United, Bowen was a couple of yards offside there, the number 20, who has got 5 goals in 13 against Leeds, Jared Bowen, scoring in that FA Cup win against them in February 2022. His FA Cup record is very strong, Jared Bowen. He's got 7 in 15. 6 of those goals have come in 11 appearances for West Ham. Big kick from Perry. Another booming header from Disasi. Poor control from Castellanos, hooked by Ampadu. Another header down by Disasi, this time to Diouf. Turns away from Aronson. It's now Potts with a clip ball out to the right-hand side, and no one's there. It's been a poor half from Freddie Potts. I wouldn't be completely surprised if he's replaced at half-time. They have got Thomas Souček on the bench, who qualified for the World Cup with the Czech Republic, scoring in both of their penalty shootouts against the Republic of Ireland and then against Denmark as well. And as the ball goes up into the air, the referee blows for half-time. As at the moment in this FA Cup quarter-final at the London Stadium, it is the visitors who lead. It was a very lively start from Leeds United. Noah Okafor within the first minute, forcing an important save from Alphonse Areola, having to tip the ball behind from the far post after a wicked shot towards the bottom right corner. But then it was West Ham to have the 2 big chances following that. Castellanos with a poked ball at the near post, well saved down low from Perry, and then not too long after that it was Bowen who was having a sharp shot towards goal again, towards the far corner again, well saved by Perry. But it was 26 minutes in when Tanaka broke the deadlock. A low ball into the box by Okafor found Tanaka, who worked space away from Magassa, and then had a weak-footed shot towards goal which took a nick off Disasi, hit the crossbar and went over the line and gave Leeds United their 1-goal lead. They have been the team who have been dominating the possession. They've had more shots, more on target. West Ham have slightly struggled to force many saves from Lucas Perry in the back end of that first half, but they'll be looking to change that as they work their way into the second half. Leeds probably just about deserve their 1-goal lead at the moment, but West Ham will come out fighting, I'm assuming, in the second half. But after a very tight and cagey, but a game that's been full of chances, it is at the moment at half-time at the London Stadium. It's West Ham 0, Leeds United 1. Even though it's a big game for both and it's got a lot riding on it, both teams are playing with the idea of trying to score. You know, at times it's a little bit scrappy, a bit cagey, but when the spaces do open up, they are going for the kill and trying to make the most of any sort of chance or space they're being given by their opponent. But as it stands, it's Leeds who have took their major chance, and they are the ones who currently have 1 foot into the semi-final at Wembley in a couple of weeks' time, where they'll take on either Manchester City, Chelsea or Southampton. A big chance for some teams to get to an FA Cup final. But for half-time, I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back in around 15 minutes, so make sure you tune back in for second half live commentary. But at the moment, at half-time at the London Stadium, after a Tanaka goal in the 26th minute, it's West Ham 0, Leeds 1. Oh, we'll go back to the second half of West Ham against Leeds. It's currently West Ham 0, Leeds 1. It does look like we're going to get some changes for West Ham, which one of them I think I predicted. The other one I'm not sure. Souček is coming on. I'm going to guess that's for Potts. And one of their other January signings, Pablo, the Brazilian winger / forward, will also be coming on as well. Not quite sure who he's going to replace, because I thought Traore had a decent first half for West Ham United, but it might be the Spaniard who is replaced. We'll have to wait and see. But for Leeds, they are currently stood in the tunnel, just waiting to emerge back onto the pitch. They're the team who currently are heading into the semi-final stage. Last time they reached the quarter-finals was in 2003. They lost 1-0 away. Steve Cabba goal. So, one of the changes I predicted right, Freddie Potts, who was just completely off the pace. He comes off for Thomas Souček, and it's going to be a bit more of a attacking change because the other holding midfielder, Songutu Magasa, who's playing alongside Potts, has also been replaced. And Pablo comes on, the Brazilian forward, so it looks like it will be Fernandes and Souček as the two holding midfielders, and then possibly Pablo kind of playing as the number 10, with Bowen on the right, Traore on the left, and Tati Castellanos playing through the middle, as it is going to be Leeds United to kick us off, kicking left to right towards their away support of 9,000 travelling fans. And it'll be West Ham attacking right to left in this second half at the London Stadium. It's Leeds working it to their right wing back, Bogle. Ampadu lifted ball down the right hand side for Aronson to chase. Kilman gets there and clears it, throwing in the attacking third for Leeds United. So it's a positive change from Nuno Espirito Santo at the break, bringing on Souček and Pablo. It's going to be a long throw from Ampadu in towards the 6-yard box. Header one from a West Ham man, but then drops towards Strauch. It's cleared by Bowen. It's a great ball through for Traore, and the break's on. Traore tripped, sent it clear by Ampadu on the halfway line, and that'll be a yellow card. And he thumbs up the referee, knowing that that was going to be his punishment for that. He had to, because West Ham were away, just inside the West Ham half. The trip came. Simply a yellow card. It's nothing more than that. It's not a red, because it wasn't a dangerous challenge, say. He just definitely caught Traore, and there was plenty of other covering defenders there. Justin was the one furthest back, but there wasn't a guarantee that Justin was going to be able to defend Traore with his pace and power. So Ampadu did what he thought was best, the captain, and took one for the team. So he goes into the book, the number 4, Ethan Ampadu. Traore stays down for now. Pawson, the referee, just allowing him to take his time after it was almost a way-in for West Ham early in the second half. As for Leeds United, they're trying to reach the semi-final stage of this competition for the first time since 1987. Yeah, just clip the ankles of Traore, sending him to the ground. Like I say, it's a yellow card. And it is the prime example of a tactical foul, because that could have been a serious opening for West Ham. And for Leeds, it's Joe Rodon, who sat down, struggling with his right foot. See if that maybe came from the Leeds corner. He was battling with Souček, jumping and kind of in the whole melee of bodies, and he may have just been caught or grounded his foot awkwardly. But Joe Rodon's getting some treatment at the moment from the Leeds United physios. So Traore's back to his feet, so now we're just waiting on Joe Rodon to be okay to continue. He's also back to his feet, hobbling off the field of play. The Welsh international, born in Swansea, spent 15 years at Swansea Football Club. And his only other appearance against West Ham was in October, the one which they won, and he scored him. But it's funny enough because it's been Leeds who've just edged the possession in that first half, not by much, but they did just edge it. But in the reverse fixture, it was Leeds who had 41% of the possession, and West Ham had 59% of the possession despite losing. So it's interesting how this time around, Leeds being away from home, they've had more possession, but when West Ham played at Leeds, it was West Ham who had more possession. They took the free kick on the halfway line, short to Diouf, who on the angle crosses into the area, headed won by Metcher, glanced on by Okafor. Oh, as far as Fernandez, as they're down to 10 again. Leeds United with Rodon waiting to be signalled back on. On this near side, it's Traore. Onto his right foot. Putting a ball into the air. It's an inviting ball in. It's Strauch who heads it away. Collected on the edge of the box by Ampadu. Plays it out to the left-hand side to Okafor. Just Metcher in front of him, but he has got Ampadu and Aronson to his right. Justin also joining in. Rodon signalled to come back on. Okafor in the area. On his right foot. Trying to get past Walker-Peters. Pokes it back to Ampadu. Into the middle of the park to Aronson as he tripped by Soucek. Referee says no. It's now towards Bowen. Tackled by Biol. To the right side to Bogle. Bringing the ball forward. Chopping back onto his left foot. Laying it off to Ampadu, who tries to cross, doesn't quite catch it. Intercepted by Fernandez. Now Traore back to goal. Tackled by Rodon, who gets there ahead of Diouf. And has to try and shield it away from Soucek. Last touch off the Leeds United defender. And that's going to be a throw-in for West Ham. Well won there by Thomas Soucek. Scored in both of those penalty shootouts for the Czech Republic in the international break just gone to get them to qualify for the World Cup. There's been a bit of drama between Soucek and the Czech Republic national team because he actually got stripped of his captaincy of the national team back in November of last year after he ignored the fans when they were beaten by 2-1 by the Faroe Islands, who at the time were ranked 136th. There's a ball's gone through there, and it looks like Castellanos might have just been offside. It was lifted forward by Soucek. The flag went up early and the ref blew early, and Castellanos decided to put the ball into the top right corner of the goal. Outside of the boot finish, curling away from goal, but just hit the top right corner. I think he was just offside, and unfortunately that niggle and that knock that Joe Rodon picked up in that early corner in the second half has meant he's going to have to be substituted. So it's another change for Leeds, forced by injury. They already lost Anton Stack in the first half. Now they're losing Joe Rodon, and he's going to be replaced by Sebastian Bornau, the Belgian centre-half brought in for just over £5 million from Wolfsburg in the summer. Not played in any of the last 5 Premier League games. He had started the previous 3 FA Cup games, the centre-back, but on the bench today, but he is going to come on for Leeds United. It's about to hit the 52nd minute in this game, and it's still Leeds who are the team in front. Tanaka, one of the last plays back on the ball, lifting it out to the right, just about reaches Biol, who can poke it away from Traore. It's now with Bornau. His first few touches on the ball after coming off the bench. Finds Bogle. Ball deflects inside to Ampadu. Forward to Metcher. And back out wide to Bogle, who will run forward with the ball. Edge of the area. Justin touched it towards Aronson. It's cleared by Kilman. Fernandez tripped from behind by Bogle. That's going to be a free kick for West Ham United, who have only won 3 of their 15 home games this season. West Ham in the Premier League. Most recent win was towards the end of January against Sunderland, and then before that they won twice at home in November against Newcastle and then Burnley. Winning 10 games all season. West Ham United in all competitions, 5 at home and 5 away. Traore can't get it through the gap towards Pablo. It's now Bogle at right wing back, playing it through the middle, cut out by Kilman, who read the game well, and then clips it out towards the left-hand side, just cut out by Bornout. And Leeds United have the ball back with their left centre-half of Pascal Struijk. Never scored in the FA Cup. Pascal Struijk does have 14 goals to his name in a Leeds United shirt. Scored twice last season against Sunderland off the bench in their 2-1 home win back in the middle of February. Scored in the 78th minute and then a 95th minute winner. That was 2 of 5 goals he scored in the Championship last campaign, as they went up as champions with 100 points, same as Burnley, but had the superior goal difference. Walker-Peters wins the ball back off Okafor. That's been a constant battle throughout the game. It's now Fernandes through the middle, stopped by Biol. That's a brilliant challenge by the Slovenian. And it's now Brendan Aronson, the first half substitute, who's got Okafor free to the left, trying to find him. And he does use him on the left-hand side. It's Okafor bringing the ball forward. Goes for an early cross towards Bogle, well intercepted by Kilman. Looks like Ampadu in the area. Onto his right foot, plays it to Metcher, tackled by Kilman. And it's now to Castellanos, who's just drifting out to the left-hand side. His pass is intercepted. Deflects, though, to Traore. It's now Pablo to Castellanos. Tries the switch. It's cut out by Tanaka. One back through the header from Souček. Diouf. Low ball forward to Pablo. Plays it out wide left to Castellanos. Tries to go into the middle towards Traore. Deflects back to Castellanos. It's now with Pablo. Ball stays in play. And it's Diouf. Back to Kilman and then back once more to Areola. Well kept there by West Ham. It was getting a bit congested on that left-hand side as they've clipped it to a more free area on the far side with Walker-Peters trying the 1-2 with Bowen. And Walker-Peters will reach it ahead of Struijk. In the final third, goes for the first time cross, which comes off the Dutchman and out for a throw-in right next to the corner flag for West Ham as the Hammers burst into life. The support making as much noise as possible as Wembley can still be in their sights. They're just the 1 goal behind as it stands. Walker-Peters getting the ball back from the throw-in. Bowen on the right flank on a more natural position as he was playing on the left-hand side during the first half. Diouf, 30 yards out in the middle of the pitch. It's Fernandes. Not many options forward. So it goes back into Kilman, who then plays a pacey pass out to the left side here to Traore. 1-on-1 with Bogle. Onto his right foot. Crosses deep. It's towards Pablo. Header won by Biol, but there's a clash of heads between Biol and Pablo, so the play will be stopped immediately by the referee, Craig Pawson. Brave header won there by Biol as they substitute Pablo. Still looking for his first West Ham goal. It's his 10th appearance for the club. Still not scored. Missed a bit of time out with a calf problem in February. Before joining Pablo, he did have 10 goals in 13 Portuguese First Division appearances. Joined for £21.8 million in January from Gil Vicente in the Portuguese top division. So Pablo has been treated and he's going to be walked to the sideline here. Yacobiel just needing a little bit more time and a little bit more care from the physios after the clash of heads. Doesn't seem like there's any blood from either of the two players, which is a good sign, of course. Just a quick few concussion questions, I'm assuming, there from the physio, just making sure Yacobiel is okay to continue. Not really got another centre-back on the bench now. Leeds United, after Joe Rodon was forced off injury at the beginning of this half for Sebastian Bornout. The other out-and-out defender they've got on the bench is Sam Byram, formerly of West Ham for 3 years. They could always put Ethan Ampadu in as a centre-back, even though he's currently playing in midfield. He's also known for playing at centre-back. So we're going to get a drop ball, and it's going to be West Ham to get us restarted. Kilman, about midway inside the Leeds half. Both Pablo and Biol waiting to be allowed back on. So 10v10 as it stands. Traore being followed closely by Bogle, and he runs out of room on the near side. Throwing for Leeds United. Got a bit tighter there, Jayden Bogle, on Adama Traore, which can always be a little bit of a concern if you get too tight to him, because if he spins you, he's then certainly gone, and it's very rare that many players catch Traore once he's got past his defender. Throwing down the line, header won by Diouf, up towards Castellanos. Up into the air it goes off Ampadu as Pablo's back on. But he loses out and Strout can clear it forward. Metch's going to give chase to this. But it'll be Disasi to clean it up and play it back to Alphonse Areola. 33 years of age now. The West Ham goalkeeper. Fernandez overruns it. Poor touch, but Souček comes back to help him out. And he's out to the right to Walker-Peters, through the middle for Pablo. Another heavy touch, and it's given away to Tanaka this time. Okafor down the left-hand side, loads of green grass to run into. Okafor into the area, onto his left foot. The angle's tight, and he's been seen out of play by Disasi. Really good defending by the loanee from Chelsea. Brought in from Monaco in 2023. Was kind of frozen out of the Chelsea squad by Enzo Maresca. But he's been given a revival here at West Ham. Just over half an hour to go. Still West Ham 0, Leeds 1. Those 9,000 Leeds supporters behind the goal of Alphonse Areola are probably biting their nails in anticipation, thinking that there could be a semi-final on for them. But West Ham might have something to say about that. Bowen, fed down the right-hand side in the box, just about keeps it in, waiting for the runs, plays it back, shot towards goal, and it's off the stanchion by Castellanos and out for a goal kick. He's been alive and he's been fiery in this game, Tati Castellanos, but not got his goal yet. The closest he came was in the first half when Perry had to get down low to his left. He's the one who started the move with playing Bowen in behind, and then he quickly followed up after making the pass and entered the box, but it was just a little bit too wide for him, the ball. He had to really get his body around the ball, but couldn't get his foot to get a clean enough contact, and wide it went. But West Ham certainly trying to prove to their supporters that they can score in this game, that they can equalise. In the last round against Brentford, when it ended 2-2 after extra time, both times it was West Ham who went ahead. Bowen put them 1-0 up in the 19th minute, then Igor Thiago equalised in the 28th, and then Bowen took the lead again for West Ham with a goal from the penalty spot in the 34th minute, before it was a penalty for Brentford from Igor Thiago, which made that game end 2-2 in 90 minutes, then also 2-2 after extra time. But it was West Ham who came out on top on penalties. 5 pretty perfect penalties from them as well in that game. It's with Axel Disasi into Areola just in front of the 18-yard box for West Ham, sweeping it to his left to Kilman. Disasi to bring it forward. He's got Fernandez to his right. Plays it into the midfielder, playing a slightly deeper role in this second half as he just about keeps the ball in with his pass to Bowen on the right flank. Walker-Peters stopped in his tracks there by Strouk. Now Okafor on the far side, try to play it through towards Metcha. It's dealt with again by Disasi. And it's West Ham dominating in the last 5 or so minutes, having 84% of the ball within the last 5. Traore on the left wing. We know he wants it on his right foot, and he can get it on his right foot and cross a dangerous ball in, and the header's off the post. Castellanos got the header on towards goal, and he smashes the woodwork, and Leeds survive a huge scare in the second half. It's West Ham 0, Leeds 1. Disasi trying to get the fans as loud as possible as they've won the ball back on the halfway line. It's just not quite his day so far for Castellanos. Another ball goes in towards Bowen at the far post. It's gone beyond him, and it will be kept in by Walker-Peters on the corner flag. Bowen in the area, running Okafor on his left foot, strikes it low, blocked by Strouk. To Disasi, who from afar fancies a shot himself, cannons off Tanaka. And it's going to be a throw for West Ham, who are on top at the moment. It's a slightly deflected cross by Traore, but it was a teasing one. And Castellanos got ahead of Strouk, but the header hit the post. Another ball goes in towards Traore, heads it in towards Bowen. It's a punch from Perry. Walker-Peters in the corner of the box on the right-hand side. Left-footed dinked cross. Castellanos goes down, headed away by Bornau. Metcha tackled by Kilman. And the kicked ball goes out to the right flank to Walker-Peters. Back to Fernandez, cross deflects. It's a corner for the Hammers. And they are knocking on this Leeds United door, and they've almost found their way in. Castellanos with the Diving header in front of Strauch, just hitting the post from about 5 yards out. Oh, it's got to go in. It's got to go in. Perry, completely flat-footed, unmoved as the header was taken. Okafor down for Leeds, needing treatment, maybe just to kill a bit of this West Ham momentum, slowing down the game. But as good as he's been this game, Tati Castellanos, in terms of his drive to carry on, despite being pretty isolated up front against those Leeds 3 centre-backs, he's got to score there. So the West Ham supporters in full voice trying to reach their first semi-final in 20 years. Last time they reached the semi-final, they went on to the final, but were beaten by Liverpool. The Leeds are going to look to make 3 changes. Ilya Gruev, Willie Nonto, and also Calvert-Lewin looks to be coming on as well. Before any changes, we're going to get a West Ham corner. Jared Bowen, right arm raised into the 6-yard box. It's a header to the far post, where it's been helped away by Ampadu. And that's going to be a throw-in for West Ham on this near side, as it's backs to the wall stuff for Leeds United, having to show exactly what they're made of in terms of their defensive application in this game. Walker-Peters out to this far side to Bowen. Is Okafor still off the pitch at the moment? Bowen running at Justin, trying the cross with the right foot. Cannon's off Justin, but back to Bowen, who pokes it into Walker-Peters just outside the 18-yard box. Fernandez to Bowen, skips away from Aronson, floats a ball in towards Souček. There's a touch away from the Czech Republic man and into the hands of Perry, who's going to go for a huge throw up towards Metcher, who can control it really well, and then touch it into Aronson, who slips, and Kilman takes over. Game starting to open up. Fernandez, he's got Walker-Peters onto his right, and he finds him. Fernandez overlaps him. He goes inside to Bowen. Bowen, right-footed cross, comes off Tanaka. Okafor back on, trying to deal with this ball, which he can't do so. Fernandez with a cross, comes off Justin. Battling now with Okafor. Fernandez gets in front of him, then brought down. Fernandez continues with the ball. Tripped, is he, by Justin? Referee says no. And Leeds United have the ball back. And they clear it long up towards Aronson. Can he outpace Kilman? No, he can't. Kilman gets there first, goes back to Areola. And a low ball to his left. We've got a quarter of the game to go. It's all West Ham as they search for the equaliser. Just slowing the game down. Playing the ball forward to Pablo. Castellanos goes down off the ball. Mateus Fernandez. Walker-Peters made a run in behind, but Fernandez decided to keep it short and sweet. To Disasi, it's now Souček to Dew forward from left back, thinking about the cross. Opts against it and goes back to Souček, the half-time substitute for Freddie Potts. Axel Disasi, right-footed ball in, glanced by Biol. As far as Traore on the left-hand side, one-on-one with Bogle. Traore, full of the tricks, trying to win a corner as he kicks off Aronson. That should be a corner. And it will be. They're certainly feeling the pressure here, Leeds United, who have lost their last 3 FA Cup quarter-finals to Sheffield United in 2003, Wolves in 1998, Liverpool in 1996. They'd only reached 1 quarter-final in the last 29 years. But they've got their sights on a first semi-final in the FA Cup since 1987. It's going to be an in-swinger from the right boot of Mateus Fernandez. In it goes to the 6-yard box. It's another headaway. Only finds Bowen, who can hit it cleanly, but it's blocked. Only finds Walker-Peters, who sends it out to the right to Bowen. One-on-one with Metcher, not the usual defender in the Leeds back line. Bowen shifts it onto his left and crosses. It comes off Ampadu. It's going to be a throw-in for West Ham. You feel like it's only a matter of time until the goal comes in. Bowen hit it right-footed. He hit it clean, but it came off Metcher. But even if it went beyond Metcher, it pretty much going straight down the throat of Perry. As Leeds United are going to make their triple change with 22 minutes to go. Got to try and get a hold back in this game if they can. So Noah Okafor, who's been battling well all game with Kyle Walker-Peters, will be replaced by Willie Gnonto. The second change, we'll see Lucas Mecha, who was playing that target man role, be replaced by another target man of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who has scored 6 in 14 against West Ham. All 3 of his Premier League goals against West Ham have come here at the London Stadium, his last back in October 2023, and a 1-0 win for Everton. And the third and final change, we'll see the goal scorer, Awa Tanaka, who's not really been included in the second half, not got on the ball as much as he did in the first. He'll be replaced by Ilya Gruev, who comes on for just his second appearance in this season's FA Cup. His last was against Derby in the third round when he played the first 73 minutes of that game. So Leeds have now used all their changes. Made one in the first half for an injured Stack. Made one at the start of the second half with an injured Rodent. And now they've just made a triple change with Calvert-Lewin, Gnonto and Gruev coming on. Just over 20 minutes to go. Diouf to this near side to Traore. Midway side the Leeds half. Goes back to the halfway line to Diouf. Then across to their number 3, Kilman, who had made 89 successive Premier League starts for Wolves and West Ham from May 2023 to November 2025. Just fell out of favour the last couple of months at West Ham after the arrival of Nuno Espirito Santo, as Leeds have won it back and they build down the left-hand side. Gnonto shoved to the ground by Disasi. It's seen as a push in the back, and that's going to be a free kick for Leeds United. Just a bit too much of a push, it seemed. It wasn't really a shoulder, just a hand into the back. Gnonto went down. Free kick for Leeds on that far side. They've not had many opportunities in this second half, the away side, but this is a chance to get the ball in the box and really test Alphonse Areola. Gruev, who's just come on, will deliver it towards the back post. Strauch gets there, and it's always going over the crossbar, but it's not too far away. Looking for his first ever FA Cup goal, Pascal Strauch. Hit it left-footed towards the top left corner, but just too much on it. Less than 20 minutes of the 90 to go. West Ham trail, but they're dominating the second half at the London Stadium. Areola with a kick ball up towards Castellanos, loses out to Ampadu. It's now Gnonto playing it forward towards Aronson, who breaks in the box. That's a huge challenge from Kilman. What a tackle that is, and Diouf clears down the left-hand side for Traore, who won't beat Bornau to it. That's good defending from the Belgian. They're going to get a check. It seemed like a clean challenge there from Max Kilman. Is he got a cross? Oh, I think he got the man first, then the ball. This could be a penalty. Somehow, he has missed the ball. I think that's a penalty. He misses the ball originally, then takes the man out, and then gets a touch on the ball. I'd be surprised if they don't at least send the referee to have a look at this. Konstantin Hatzidakis is the man on VAR, the man who was very famously a part of that half-time push and shove with Andy Robertson at Anfield a couple of years ago when Liverpool took on Spurs. And they are going to send the referee to the monitor after having very little luck at the West Ham goal in this second half. Leeds might have a chance to double their advantage with a penalty kick. It seemed like a really well-timed challenge, but on the replay, the whole reason for VAR, Kilman has somehow missed the ball entirely. Even though he's in such close proximity with the ball, he's somehow gone away over the ball and through the man. I think that'll be a penalty, and that could seriously burst the West Ham bubble in this quarter-final. I'm not quite sure how he's missed the ball, but he has, and took the man out of Brendan Aronson. This should be a penalty. Craig Paulson's having a good few looks at it just to make sure he gets the decision right. But after having very little chance of attacking, they've broke forward and got themselves in the box and have forced a challenge from Kilman. And that challenge from Kilman may have given Leeds a penalty. The referee is announcing his decision to the stadium after having a look. And he is going to be pointing to the penalty spot. And he has. It's a penalty for Leeds. And a yellow card for Kilman, who's in for this game, as they're missing Todibo and Mavropanos out of the matchday squad. You can 100% see why the referee didn't give it at first, because I thought it was a very clean tackle, but on the replay, Kilman completely misses it, takes out the man, and this is an absolute gift for Leeds to double their lead, because they were completely overwhelmed by this constant West Ham pressure, and it seemed like the goal was going to come for West Ham at any moment, but instead they've given away a penalty. Doesn't mean it's going to go in yet. They've still got to score it. There was one penalty that was saved in the shootout against Brentford, and that was after a failed Panenka by Dango Ouattara. I don't think Dominic Calvin will take the same plan of action. He's come off the bench. He scored just one in his last 10. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Can he get back on the score sheet after returning from his England call-up? Calvert-Lewin scores for Leeds. Sends the goalkeeper the wrong way. And it looks like for the first time since 1987, Leeds United will be making their way to Wembley for an FA Cup semi-final. He hasn't been on the pitch long, but a chance from 12 yards, he was never going to pass up on that. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin scores his 7th goal against West Ham in his 15th appearance against the club. It's his 4th here at the London Stadium. And that is a gigantic goal for Leeds United. And after having to take so much West Ham pressure, they sucked it up. They dealt with it. They got their chance on the break. They won themselves a penalty. They've scored it. And Leeds have doubled their advantage in front of those 9,000 travelling supporters at the London Stadium. It's West Ham 0, Leeds 2. A very well taken penalty from Dominic Calvert-Lewin off the bench and scoring once again for Leeds United. Still 15 to go plus added on time, so if West Ham can get a goal soon, it's not over, but their mountain has just become a lot bigger to climb. And they were being so dominant, such a silly penalty to give away from Kilman. Completely missed time in the challenge on Brendan Aronson. But another trip to London is well within their sights now for Leeds United. They're on a run of 4 away games in a row, including today. The Traore outside of the boot, ball comes off the head of Bogle. It's going to be a corner for West Ham. In fairness, some might see that as justice for Leeds because they could have had a penalty in the first half. Kilman with a late challenge on Stack, which forced him to go off injured, and that wasn't given by VAR. It's going to be an in-swinger once more on this near side from Fernandes for West Ham. Flood in the 6-yard box. It's a very deep one. Too deep, overhit and out of play. That is one of the worst corners you will see all weekend. Very poor quality from Mateus Fernandes, who's been one of the better players for West Ham this season. Got his first Portugal appearance for the senior team in the international break just gone. Mateus Fernandes coming on in their 2-0 win against the USA at the beginning of this week. As they are in full voice, those Leeds United supporters to the right-hand side of the ground. Nonto tripped by Disasi. Free kick, and then now it just seems like the frustration's going to start to build for West Ham United. As this will be 2 wins in a row for Leeds against West Ham. These two have got to meet here again on the final day of the Premier League season, which could have massive implications onto who survives and who doesn't in the Premier League, as it's a High ball forward. It's well brought down by Calvert-Lewin. Just outside the area on the left-hand side. Plays it for Justin. Takes the touch and he has the shot, which deflects to Bogle, who will get it across for Nonso with the flick. And it's a yard wide. Such an intricate and clever finish from Nonso, but it just avoids the far post. Oh, it's a lovely little flick. Just missing the post. So close from the substitute Nonso. And it remains 2-0 to Leeds. But they almost got their third. The last time Leeds reached the semi-final of the FA Cup was in 1987 when they lost in extra time to Coventry. A game played at Hillsborough. At the time they were managed by Billy Bremner, who was manager from 1985 to 1988, after being a player from 1955 to 1976. He was made captain in 1965. Billy Bremner played over 770 games for the club in a 17-year stint, and he is their all-time leading appearance maker. But now under Farker, looks like they're going to be back to Wembley for an FA Cup semi-final. After their previous Wembley trips have been unsuccessful in the last two trips, to Southampton in 2024 and then Doncaster in 2008. Just over 10 minutes of the 90. Juve on this near side. Playing it to Traore. Back to Fernandez. They've really got something to protect now, Leeds United, with a 2-goal lead. Fernandez to Kilman on halfway, the man who gave away the penalty for Calvert-Lewin to dispatch. All the way back to Alphonse Areola. West Ham fans want the ball to go forward. Huge kick out towards the West Ham right, towards Castellanos, who heads it into Bowen, gets there ahead of Gruev, then runs into traffic. Is he fouled? Referee says no, dinked forward by Strauch, and there's so much room for Nonso on the left-hand side. Walker-Peters is trying to get back, but Nonso is running at Disassi in the area, right-footed shot, cannons off the Frenchman. Poor strike really from Nonso. It's now Fernandez for West Ham, who needs to release it, being swarmed by Gruev and Aronson. And it's Pablo who comes back to try and help him out. Still battling for the ball, Fernandez, and eventually it drops to Aronson for Leeds. Tackled by Walker-Peters. It's now Souček. Plays it inside to Walker-Peters. Referee plays advantage as Souček was caught, but given away by Castellanos. It's poor. It's Bourne now, the centre-half. He's going to shoot from afar. And he stings the gloves of Areola. Corner kick for Leeds on the near side. They can almost see the Wembley Arch in their sights. Leeds United. Bourne now, the centre-half. Not known for his goals. He had that shot right down the throat of the goalkeeper, but it was hit with so much pace he had to just tip it over for a corner kick. Not scored yet since joining in the summer. Sebastian Bourne. It's going to be taken. It's going to be an in-swinger on this near side from Ilya Gruev, the Bulgarian. Gruev with the ball towards the back post. It's a punch from Areola. Drops to Aronson. Plays it back out wide to Gruev, the original taker. Goes back to Bogle. Then first time cross volleyed by Traore. Straight back to Bogle, who played across to Nonso. Plenty of time on the ball for the Italian. Out to the far side to Justin. Just inside the West Ham half. Gets away from Pablo. Then down the left channel for Calvert-Lewin. The flag stays down for now. Calvert-Lewin into the area towards the byline. Can he pull it back? He kicks it off Walker-Peters. No, flag went up for offside. So it's going to be a corner instead. Working the channels well there, Calvert-Lewin. Scoring just his fourth ever FA Cup goal. He's actually scored a hat-trick against West Ham. And that was back in a League Cup fourth round game for Everton back in September 2020. And then his four other goals against them have all come away from home, including the one today from the penalty spot. Another in-swinger. This time it's going to be the right boot of James Justin on that far side. Another deep one. Areola this time can catch. It's well caught. And he needs to try and release it quickly. Throws it down the left-hand side towards Juve. He's going to have to beat Grev in a foot race. He pushes him in the back. And the referee gives a foul. Didn't think he was going to give it at first, but definitely seemed like a push in the back there from El Hadji Malik Diouf, who have won AFCON back in January. Of course, at the moment, Senegal have been stripped of their title and have given the award and the trophy to Morocco, but that has been appealed, and we'll see what the outcome of that is after a very crazy Africa Cup of Nations final where Senegal walked off the pitch and then came back on, and the penalty was saved through Diaz after a failed Panenka, and then went to extra time and they got the win. It was all absolute mayhem, one of the craziest games of football I've ever watched. I'm not going to claim I watched all of it. I kind of switched it on with the last half an hour to go, and then it just went absolutely bonkers. So 6 minutes to go. The West Ham supporters are starting to trickle out of the stadium, kind of seeing the belief go after conceding that second goal. It's going to be a long throw in here for Ampadu into the 18-yard box for Leeds, up towards Calvert-Lewin, headed won by Souček, headed forward by Justin, controlled by Nonto, back to goal, tries to flick it back towards Justin, loses out to Pablo, who just needs to clear for West Ham if he can. Being closed down by Nonto, ball just about stays in, but his clearance deflects into Nonto's path. Willie Nonto in the box, Calvert-Lewin with a flick, but he can't find a teammate. Clearance, all as far as Ampadu, who wants to strike it from afar, comes off the knees of Kilman. All as far as Grev, who heads it out wide right to Bogle. Some options in there for him. He's been fouled though by Fernandez, and that's going to be a free kick for Leeds. And I think the game has just slowly withered away from West Ham after such a good first half of the second half. Completely on top in this game, but as soon as that penalty from Kilman was given away and it was dispatched, it's just been all Leeds since then, who have grown in confidence. It's going to be Gruev, whose only goal for Leeds came directly from a free kick in the playoff semi-final second leg against Norwich a couple of seasons ago. He's gone for a deep one. It's a cross. It's too deep. And that's going to be a goal kick for West Ham. Struijk went down at the far post wanting a penalty, but Craig Paulson was unmoved, and it's a West Ham ball with 4 minutes to go plus added on time. Big kick from Areola. So many empty seats now for West Ham. Well controlled by Pablo. Can't quite play it through to Castellanos. Headed away by Ampadu as far as Souček, who lifts out to the left side here to Diouf. Towards the halfway line to Fernandez. Everyone behind the ball for Leeds as he goes across to Disasi, who's probably been one of West Ham's better performers in this game. Kind of been let down by centre-back partner. And in fairness for the goal, it did deflect off Disasi and into the back of the net, but there's not an awful lot he could have done about that, as that would have and did go down as a Tanaka goal despite the deflection. Fernandez sprays it to the left towards Traore, goes beyond him and Bogle, and that's going to be a throw-in for Leeds as they are counting down the minutes for a trip to Wembley. Yeah, the last two Wembley trips have ended in 1-0 defeats for West Ham, for Leeds, against Southampton in 2024 and Doncaster in 2008. Bourne now with the throw-in, headed on by Aronson, but he's pushed Fernandez in the back on halfway. That's a free kick for West Ham as they want to try and take it quickly. If they can somehow work a goal within the next minute or two, they'll have added on time to put some extra pressure on, but since conceding the goal, they've not looked like scoring at all. Disasi. Fernandez just inside the opposition half. Has to go back into Kilman. They're well set up here, Leeds United. Forward to Pablo. Back into Fernandes. Slow build up from West Ham. Looks like they're out of ideas and out of confidence for this game. Missing a lot of players. That's no excuse. But Wan-Bissaka's out, Tadebo's out, Mavropanos is out, Somerville's out, Wilson out. 5 players who could very easily have started in this game. Especially Mavropanos, he probably would have played ahead of Kilman, who's been at fault for the penalty giveaway in the second half. Diouf with a chance to cross. It's a good delivery in. It's an even better header away by Yacobiol. Headed back forward by Diouf, all as far as Ampadu. Ball's loose. It's Gruev to send the ball over the top for Aronson down the right-hand side. He's got Nonto up there with him. Will he go for the corner flag? Gruev joined in. Plays it to Bogle instead, who wants to shoot, and he fires over the top. Well into that stand where some of the 9,000 Leeds supporters are congregated together. Less than a minute of the 90 to go. 3 man of the match shouts. Jayden Bogle, James Justin and Pascal Strauch. There's not really been an out-and-out standout for Leeds in terms of an individual. I think they've all been very solid when they've had to be. Big kick from Areola. Header won by Ampadu. Won back though by Fernandes. Gets away from Ampadu, but the touch goes straight to Biol. But then won back by Traore. Putting Ampadu under pressure. Disassi on halfway. Everyone camped behind the ball for Leeds, but understandably so. Fernandes to the left to Traore. He's got Diouf with him. Going to go on his own trip by Bogle. Well won from Traore. He certainly showed today, Adama Traore, what he's about and why he's had a career in the Premier League. When he is on it, he is certainly a very solid player, as we've got 11 minutes added on. I know we've had stoppages, and we have had stoppages with plenty of players going off and going down injured, but that seems heavy. So we'll play till minute 101. So if West Ham score from this, they'll have about 10 minutes to get an equaliser. Mateus Fernandes stood over it with El Hadji Malik Diouf. It's going to be Fernandes to put a low ball in, and he's put 2 of the worst crosses I've ever seen in quick succession. He gets it back, lays off to Diouf, who heads it towards goal. And wide it goes. It was Diouf with the cross. It was Pablo with the header. And it just grazes the side netting at the near post. Or has it hit the roof of the net? Let's have a look. Or kind of a bit of both. Kind of the corner of the net. It's kind of skimmed off the side, then onto the top. Half chance for West Ham as Pablo, the Brazilian forward, still looking for his first goal since joining in January from Gil Vicente in Portugal. Was born in Braga in Portugal, but goes under the Brazilian nationality. It's his first ever club away from Portugal in his career for the 22-year-old Pablo. Diouf. A dinked ball forward towards Pablo. Chests it on the edge of the area. Flag stays down for now, but he's surrounded by blue shirts, and Ampadu nicks it off him and clears down the right-hand side. Chested touch from Calvert-Lewin, but loses out to Diouf. Souček to Kilman and across to Disassi. 9 minutes to go. We've added on time. Disassi with a dinked ball forward to Pablo, who's going to get there ahead of Bogle. Back into Traore. Crosses deep, looking for Bowen. Controlled well by Bowen. He's got Walker-Peters on the overlap. Goes on his own instead. Bowen with the left-footed shot off the post. And then on the rebound, Fernandes puts it in. And the flag stays down. West Ham have a goal. And there is belief back in the London Stadium. Traore with the cross towards Bowen. Justin misjudged it, and it was controlled by the captain, who then had a shot to the far post. It came off the post and then deflected back into the 6-yard area. And Fernandes, well onside, was the one, read it. He anticipated it well. And he scored against Leeds at Ellen Road to make that game 2-1 late on. And he's just done the exact same thing again here in the FA Cup quarter-final. It's West Ham 1, Leeds 2. And there's 8 minutes left to save themselves. Bowen creating something out of nothing, hitting the post. And thankfully for him, Fernandez's teammate was ready for the rebound. And it's 2-1. It's not over yet for the Hammers, who are trying to make it to a semi-final in this FA Cup for the first time in 20 years. Disasi try to kick it forward, slightly off balance, straight to Ampadu in the centre circle. Aronson crushed from the side by Pablo. And that's going to be a free kick, as some West Ham fans who were leaving are now re-emerging to watch the last 7 or so minutes of this game as they've got one back. That's why you never leave a game early. If you don't have to. Stay till the end, you just never know what could happen. Nonto on the left-hand side, driving in towards the 18-yard box, playing a ball, looking for Justin. Just about nicked off him by Disasi. Walker-Peters needs to get rid. And he plays it to Disasi, who will clear it. Almost as far as Gruev heads it forward down the left. For Ampadu. Brought to the ground by Sochet. Referee says no. And they continue to re-emerge, the West Ham supporters who thought it was all over at 2-0. Kilman, the man who gave away the penalty for Leeds to make it 2-0, finds the ball to Traore on this near side. About 30 yards from goal. Pretty isolated on that left-hand side. He was able to work across it. It's not a bad ball. No one really read it and went for an early run. And it's bounced straight into the hands of the goalkeeper of Lucas Perry. Big kick forward, headed back forward by Kilman to Traore. Pablo can't quite flick it into Traore. Cut out and cleared eventually for Leeds United. Big kick from Perry. Nonto will chase it. Walker-Peters wins the first header. Disasi gets on the second ball ahead of the young Italian. And then Sochet works it to the left-hand side. 5.5 minutes to go. Diouf into Traore, who's been a constant threat all game for West Ham United. Signed a short-term contract in January. Crosses it into the box and in it goes! From one January signing to another, Axel Disasi completes the turnaround in added on time. Scores his first goal for West Ham, and what a time to do it! Silences the 9,000 travelling Leeds United supporters and sends those home supporters into raptures behind the goal. From a team that looked completely dead and buried at 2-0, have come alive in added on time and have completed an almighty FA Cup comeback. Traore causing so many issues down that West Ham left-hand side. Was able to get onto his right foot too easily. Bogle not tight enough. And he crosses it in. And Disasi, from around 6 yards out, put his right foot up into the air. And guided the ball back across goal. Into the bottom left corner. They had to throw the kitchen sink at it, sending the centre-backs forward. And Disasi was able to get on the end of the cross and make it 2-2. VAR are checking the goal for a high boot. Disasi's foot up in the air alongside the head of Strauch, and the goal's been given. Don't get me wrong, there is an argument for a high boot on Disasi, but his only intention was to reach the ball. And Leeds United have completely switched off and have thrown away a 2-goal lead within added on time. And it's West Ham 2, Leeds 2, and there's still potential time for a winner. We've got 3 minutes left. Axel Disasi, who's been a man mountain at the back for West Ham on loan since joining in January. And he scores his first ever FA Cup goal. And we've still got 3 minutes left, around 3 minutes. There might be slightly more after the delay to the restart, after that second West Ham goal. The last time these two drew, it was a 2-2 draw back in January 2023. Free kick for West Ham on the halfway line, far side. They're going to take their time with this. I mean, if they turn this around within the allocated added on time and not needing extra time, that would be absolutely spectacular stuff. They have sent the tallest players they've got forward, the likes of Disasi and Kilman, and Souček's in there as well. Big kick forward, just about reaching the 18-yard box. It's a header won by Justin. Back forward by Castellanos. Second header won for Leeds by Strauch. As far as Souček lifts it to the right to Bowen. Tries to play a ball through to Fernandez. Nicks off Justin. Throwing next to the corner flag for West Ham. In all fairness, they probably deserved an equaliser when they were 1-0 down because they dominated the first stages of the second half, but Kilman gave a very silly penalty away and kind of gave them a mountain to climb, which they've somehow got to the top of, and they're just trying to stay there. Throwing from Walker-Peters to Fernandez, who boots a ball into the box. It's towards the edge of the area where Traore gets the touch, but looks like it's Aronson who can clear. Up towards Nonto, heads on towards Calvert-Lewin, headed away by Kilman, chested down by Traore, touch from Bowen to Traore. Traore forward to Castellanos, it's well defended by Ampadu, who can bring it away down the Leeds left, being chased all the way. Ampadu forward to Calvert-Lewin, and then trying to go out wide to Nonto. It's out of touch. It's a throw-in for West Ham. 50 seconds of added on time to go. Might play a little bit more than that after the delay to the restart, after the West Ham second goal to make it 2-2. Kilman. How the tables have turned, how the momentum is completely switched in this game. Diouf, a ball over the top for Traore, just too much on it. And it goes through to Perry. The idea wasn't wrong at all. It's just the execution was off from El Hadji Malik Diouf. Perry rolls it to Biel. A clip ball forward for Calvert-Lewin, who glances it to Nonto, takes the touch into the box. It's well defended by Walker-Peters, who just gets rid. Taking no chances there. The West Ham number 2. Who's having to stand in today for the missing Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Gruev, big sliding challenge on Bowen. Nonto on the left-hand side in the final third. Brought to the ground by Fernandez. It's going to be a free kick for Leeds. This could be the last big opportunity before a potential extra time. It's a silly foul to give away on the left-hand side. A shove in the back. And it's going to be a left-footed delivery from Ilya Gruev. They were 2-0 up. Leeds United. Can they get themselves back in front? Everyone back for West Ham. Gruev, left-footed, crosses it in. Calvert-Lewin with a free header, and it's an easy catch in the end for Areola. And they want to counter a huge throw from Areola down the left-hand side for Diouf, who's battling with Aronson. Still with Diouf. Oh, he can't get there away from the American. It's going to be a foul the other way. Diouf was caught, but he'd already fouled Aronson, who did really well to defend that potential West Ham counter-attack. And it's a Leeds United free kick. We've almost played 2 extra minutes. So we're just waiting for the referee's whistle for from Craig Pawson. Lucas Perry taking his time. And there was a lot of empty seats in the West Ham ground. That is changed as the ball's booted up in the air. Full-time whistle blown at the London Stadium. It finishes West Ham 2, Leeds United 2. An almighty end to the game where we are going into extra time to see if West Ham or Leeds will find themselves in the FA Cup semi-final. It was 1-0 after 26 minutes. Tanaka with the goal. West Ham going into the half-time break trailing. And then they were trailing even more with 15 to play. Calvert-Lewin dispatching a penalty after Aronson was fouled in the box by Kilman, which was a devastating blow for West Ham because they had dominated the majority of that second half. And even up until the 90th minute, West Ham seemed to have lacked energy and any real attacking prowess, but that all changed. It added on time. 11 minutes were added on, and in the third minute of added on time, Mateus Fernandes scored from a couple of yards out after Bowen hit the post, and it came back out to the Portuguese midfielder who tapped it in from a couple of yards out to make it 2-1. Then just 3 minutes later, Adama Traore from the left-hand side cut onto his right foot, bent a ball into the box, and 6 yards out, Disasi got his right boot up high enough to dispatch the ball into the bottom left corner and gave West Ham an equaliser from absolutely nothing, from dead and buried to well and truly alive at full time here at the London Stadium. It finishes West Ham 2, Leeds 2, but we've got extra time on its way, as we still need a decider for who's going to take that fourth and final spot in this year's FA Cup semi-final. Did not think West Ham were going to do that. When they were 1-0 down at the beginning of the second half, I thought they were going to equalise. But once it went to 2-0, it just seemed like the whole atmosphere came out of the ground. Fans started to leave. But a little bit of momentum shifted their way when they realised there was 11 minutes added on. And that was enough time for them to get the 2 goals they needed. But Leeds will be absolutely kicking themselves. How on earth they've not seen that one through, I do not know. So much added on time because there was quite a lot of injuries in that second half. We had Joe Rodon come off at the beginning of the half. He was replaced by Bornau. He came off injured. Okafor went down with injury. We had a clash of heads between, I think, Pablo and Biol. So there was plenty of stoppages, and then obviously we had the goals. They had the VAR check for the penalty. So there was plenty of reason for the 11 minutes added on. Don't get me wrong, I didn't think there was going to be 11 minutes, but 11 minutes were added on, and in fairness, West Ham got their 2 goals within 6 minutes of the added on time. So they did it with plenty of time to spare, and both teams just almost finding a little way to maybe nick a winner at the end, but neither of the 2 teams were able to create a big enough opportunity. And that's why we're going into extra time at the London Stadium. But the first half of extra time will be getting underway very shortly. After goals from Fernandes and from Disasi. Fernandes did score to make it 2-1 in the reverse game at Ellen Road in the Premier League, but they didn't quite have enough time to get the equaliser that day. They did this time around. Axel Disasi scoring for West Ham. It's his first goal for the club since joining on loan in January from London side Chelsea. And you'd think the momentum's now with West Ham, but the fact we've had a little break for extra time, it might just balance itself out again. And with both teams obviously probably starting to tire. A lot of these players would have been on international break, travelling a lot of heavy miles. And they've got to bear in mind as well, they're going to be playing again next week. West Ham hosting Wolves on believe it's the Friday they're playing Wolves. I could be wrong. Let me just double check that. I don't want to be talking rubbish. Yeah, Friday night they've got Wolves at home. Leeds do have a bit more time to recover. They play Man United at Old Trafford on the Monday. So it is going to be West Ham kicking left to right, Leeds right to left for this first half of extra time. I'm not sure if they get an extra sub because we've gone to extra time. I'm not entirely sure on the ruling of that because I do know Leeds had used all 5 of their subs. But West Ham hadn't used all their subs. They've only used 2. They both came on at extra time at half time. In normal time, Souček coming on and Pablo for Potts and Magassa. So it'll be Leeds to kick us off, right to left, West Ham left to right. Half an hour to see if one of these two teams can book their spot into the last 4. It's gone to Perry. Big kick forward. Headed on by Calvert-Lewin, but volleyed by Disasi ahead of Nonto. Up towards Pablo, over his head to Biol. Lifts it to the right side, halfway line. Bogle tries to volley away, doesn't catch it. Diouf does, and sends a high ball forward up towards Castellanos. Perry's out of his box, heads it the wrong way. Castellanos with an open goal! Is it in? It is! 30 seconds into extra time. West Ham have the lead for the first time in this game. What a monumental error from Lucas Perry. And a player who has grafted all day long, Tati Castellanos, buries it into an open goal, almost cleared off the line by Strauch, who was able to kick the ball onto the post and out, but it already crossed the line. It was a poor clearance from Bogle, played back forward by Diouf. There's a question of offside. That will be tight and it will be checked. But Perry came out. It was borderline. I think it was just in his box, but he wasn't sure. So he went to head it away, but instead of heading it away from goal, he headed it out wide and towards goal. And very delicately, Castellanos just caresses the ball with his left boot towards goal. Strauch tried to get back and clear, but he couldn't do so before it crossed the line. And for the moment, West Ham lead, but that offside is going to be close. And VAR have checked it, and he is offside. It remains 2-2. Really is not his day for the Argentine, Tati Castellanos. He has already scored once in the FA Cup this season in the 3rd round to QPR. But his Diouf played it forward. He tried to bend his run, but it looks like it'll more than likely be a shoulder that's playing him offside there. And it is kind of the right half of his body just leaning offside. But that is a warning sign for Leeds, who have almost thrown it away at the start of extra time, but it remains 2-2. And we're back underway with Gruev in a left-back position, clearing it forward for Leeds down the middle of the pitch, missed by Disasi, but runs through for Kilman. Areola. Big kick up towards Pablo. Can't quite control it, head away by Bornau. To Ampadu. Works it to Bogle, who gets away from Diouf. They've got bodies forward here, Leeds. He's got Aronson closest to his left. Calvert-Lewin making a run to the near post. Bogle goes in his own, then plays it across. Cleared by Walker-Peters. Justin on the rebound. Big block. Still alive. Nonto. Oh, that's an awful shot. It's that bad. It's actually gone into the stand behind the goal, which is a million miles away from the pitch. But that's Leeds with a big chance. Bogle with a marauding run down the right flank. Pulled it across. It was cleared by Walker-Peters, but just in 12 yards out of the shot, which came off Areola, then cleared off the line by Souček. Kind of killed the pace, Areola, but still went beyond him, and it had to be cleared by Souček. And in the end, Nonto off balance had the shot towards the top right corner, which went absolutely flying away from goal. Ball forward for Leeds, headed on by Bogle, hooked by Kilman. It's going to be kept in by Bourne now, who can see it out of play for a throw for West Ham. Just run out of pitch on the far side as we've been closed down there by Pablo. Not got loads of senior options on the bench, West Ham. They're missing a lot of plays out of injury, the likes of Somerville, Wilson, Mavropanos, Tadibo. Wan-Bissaka as well is also missing. The only other close to senior player they've got is probably Ollie Scarles at 20 years old. He's made 15 first team appearances this season. But other than that, they're all youth players. Still 2-2 at the London Stadium. It's been an enthralling FA Cup quarter-final tie, the final one of the round. Traore on the left, working some space, crossing it with his left boot as well. It's gone beyond the head of Justin. Walker-Peters, does he fancy a shot? He does! And it's saved by Perry. Not quite enough in the corner from Kyle Walker-Peters. But it was still a save that needed to be made by Perry, who almost cost Leeds the level scoreline at the beginning of the extra time with that poor header clearance which was put in the net by Castellanos, but it was found to be offside in the build-up. Strauch in between the lines for Ampadu, the captain. Then forward for Nonto. Plays it out wide left to Justin. First bit of football we've seen from Leeds for some time. Nonto in the final third. Falling over the ball, but getting back to his feet and keeping it away from Walker-Peters and slipping it through towards Justin. Just too much on it. Cleared by Disasi. Back for Strauch in the Leeds half. A little less power on that pass and could have been a slight chance there for Leeds. Still getting forward the wing-backs, likes of Bogle and Justin from the right and left-hand side. Ball now forward from centre-back, then playing it round the corner for Bogle. It's a brilliant pass. Pull back into the box. Again, just too much on it. Collected by Areola, not too far away from Calvert-Lewin, who scored the second Leeds goal to make it 2-0 with 15 to play. Traore. Can he get away from Ampadu? He can. Pablo does take over on the far side for West Ham. They just slow it down towards the halfway line. Souček playing it to the right centre-back of Disasi. Walker-Peters forward to Bowen, who scored the brace in the last round to get them through against Brentford, or to get them through to penalties, where he scored the first in that shootout, but they have lost it in the midfield battle. Up to Calvert-Lewin, holds it up well. Ampadu, first time ball over the top for Nonso. Areola quickly off his line and calmly off his line to play a ball forward to Kilman. Walker-Peters returning it to Areola, not wanting to concede sloppy possession. Just the one clean sheet so far this season for Areola in his 24 games now he's played this season. And that came against Burton in the fourth round away from home. Bowen dispossessed. Ampadu now has it in the centre circle. Forward to Aronson. Goes back to Bourne out. And Leeds have possession. 7.5 minutes to go of the first half of extra time. Still 2-2 at the London Stadium. 2 goals and added on time from West Ham have got them to this point, where a potential trip to Wembley is still on for them. Bourne now on the far side, trying to play it to Aronson, tackled by Traore, but he wins it back. Aronson lifts it to Calvert-Lewin, dispossessed by Pablo, surrounded by blue shirts, just about able to play it back to Areola, who's been closed down by Ampadu. Quickly kicks out to the right side to Walker-Peters, tries to take a touch inside on Nonto, but loses out and Gruev takes over. Gruev running into the box, wants to shoot, and he does shoot, and he's got to square it. Calvert-Lewin barking at him, telling him he's got to find that pass. I think Ilya Gruev just politely ignoring the shouting there from Calvert-Lewin. Has a point though, the Leeds number 9. Yeah, he's got to square it, because even if Calvert-Lewin misses it, Bogle's there behind him to maybe potentially have a shot towards goal. Certainly the Probably one of the more exciting fixtures of the quarter-final stage in terms of the late drama. I didn't think it would be topped after the result last night where Southampton won it late and Fernandes is trying to put West Ham in the lead. The angle's tight, tries to square it, deflects through, big save again. Castellanos can't score. Fernandes just inside the box on the right-hand side, lifts it in. Ampadu with the header, then headed away once more by Gruev. Disasi with a lovely ball out wide left to Diouf, making the pitch as wide as possible. Then forward to Traore towards the byline. Tries the cross, comes off Ampadu, ball spinning, and it stays in play. Traore keeps it away from Bogle. Diouf. Back into Kilman. Diouf into the middle to Disasi. Well works from the Hammers. Diouf to Kilman. Tackle by Aronson. Going to be a throw in that for West Ham. Big save there from Perry. Castellanos 6 yards out, trying to lift it towards goal, and with his head and arm, Perry was able to stop the ball from going beyond him and possibly into the back of the net. And there is Danny Dyer watching on his beloved West Ham United as his team are the team attacking and wanting to get the winner. Traore with 5 minutes to go, can't get through Aronson. Cleared away, but only as far as Disasi for West Ham as it went over the head of Calvert-Lewin. Areola, big kick forward, looking for Pablo, headed away from Struijk, but always fast. Castellanos flicks it to Bowen, who from afar shoots, hits the post again, and on the rebound it's put in, but the flag's up. Bowen twice has hit the post. Of course, father-in-law is Danny Dyer, who has his hands on his head, thinking his team had scored. Let's have a look. Bowen had the shot. Oh, well offside. Well offside. It's so close for Bowen. And you've got to think, where would West Ham be without him? Of course, scored the winner in the Conference League. But no, Pablo well offside, and the man searching for his first West Ham goal. So close, but of course, Jared Bowen. Yeah, the father-in-law, Danny Dyer. Danny Dyer's give it the big celebration as well and everything. Thinking they'd done it. And they hadn't. And it remains 2-2, but West Ham have had the ball in the net twice in this extra time period. Both disallowed, as there was offsides within the build-up of both goals. So check to Pablo. Castellanos outside of the boot ball for Bowen. Again, it's going to be tight for an offside call, but Bowen continues to play on that right flank. Left-footed shot goes towards the far post. I'm sure it took a nick, but the flag may have been up for offside anyway. Let's have a look. Certainly took a deflection off Justin's heel. But I think there was a flag up for offside on Bowen from the pass that played him through. Gruev to Justin on this near side, just in front of the West Ham technical area. Just not been able to get a foothold in this game at all since the 90th minute onwards. Leeds United. Struijk into Jacobiel. Tackled by Pablo. That's going to be a late one. Foul. 2 minutes to go. It's going to be a free kick for Leeds. Quite far out, but definitely a chance to try and lump this into the box. So I think they are going to use this as a chance to try and get this as near to the 18-yard box as possible. As we edge towards half-time of extra time, Leeds have got a chance to deliver the ball in the box. It's a whip ball in. It's well caught by Areola, who throws it to the left to Fernandes, the scorer of the first. starting the comeback. Tries to switch it to the right. It's a well-weighted ball, easily controlled by Walker-Peters, who brings it into the Leeds United half. It's now with Pablo on the right wing. Goes back here to Souček. Got just under a minute left to try and score another goal in this extra time, trying to get one to stand. Disasi overruns it. Tackle by Ampadu. Ball drops to Nonto, trying to go back towards his own goal. Tripped by Bowen. Free kick and taken quickly by Nonto to Justin. Into the middle it goes. Aronson away from the centre circle. He's got Bogle out to his right. Finds him in the final third. Bogle can't get away from Juve. Brilliant full back defending. And now he plays it to Traore and the breaks on. Traore beyond Strauch. Away from Justin. And Ampadu. It's brilliant from Adama Traore. Juve is with him on the left. Plays it to Juve. Bodies in the box. He goes himself and he puts it wide. He's got to square the ball. I can't believe he's had a shot. And it went well wide. A man looking for his first West Ham goal. That was not the time to shoot. Rush of blood to the head. It was such a good individual run from Adama Traore. He's been up there with one of the players of the game for me. Oh, he's just got to put it across. I can't believe he's gone for that shot. 2 minutes added on. That is out. It's just an outrageous decision. I can't believe he's had a shot. Remains 2-2 at the London Stadium. Both of these teams have had 20 shots at goal. 6 on target for West Ham, 8 for Leeds. Fernandez runs into a bit of traffic, but he keeps away from Gruev. Souček having to go back to his goalkeeper, Areola. First time clearance down the right side, straight out of play. Throwing for Leeds. A minute to go of this first half. Both of these teams have won penalty shootouts in this FA Cup run. West Ham in the previous round against Brentford, and then Leeds in the 4th round away at Birmingham. Throwing down the line. It's headed on by Calvert-Lewin. Nonto slightly pulled back. Oh, it's going to be a free kick as well. Yellow card for Kyle Walker-Peters. Showing tired legs there. And a tired mind as well. Even though Nonto could have got himself behind, so it might have been a clever foul looking at it. But Kilman was coming across. So yellow card for Kyle Walker-Peters. Still, no West Ham changes have been made since half-time of normal time. But that is due to them completely lacking any sort of senior players on the pitch. It's going to be Justin to deliver a ball in from the left-hand side from where this free kick is positioned. And it's a deep one, and oh my word, straight out of play. I have seen some of the worst crosses I've seen for a while. Mateus Fernandez did 2 for West Ham in normal time, and Justin has just done the same, straight out of play. Goal kick, referee blows for half-time and extra time. Still 2-2, but it could have been West Ham leading. They scored within 30 seconds of extra time. Tati Castellanos getting a goal after a mistake from Lucas Perry, heading the ball towards his own goal, which led an open goal for Castellanos to put the ball in the back of the net. But from the ball forward, it was an offside run from Tati Castellanos. They also had another ball in the back of the net after Bowen hit the post. And on the rebound, it was Pablo to put it into an empty net. But again, as the shot was taken from Bowen, Pablo was in an offside position. So somehow, Leeds are still surviving in this game, despite being 2-0 up with 15 to play. They are the team who are hanging on for dear life, and at half-time, in extra time, it's still 2-2. Will this game go to penalties? If anyone's going to win it at the moment, it looks like West Ham, but you can't rule out Leeds just yet. Get a couple of minutes break here. And then we'll be back underway We're interested to see if West Ham do make any changes, even though they will have to bring on inexperienced players. $15 left in extra time for one of these two teams to book their place in the last four to face one of the three teams that could be Manchester City, Chelsea or Southampton, who knocked out Arsenal last night at St Mary's. The draw will take place once this game is finished. I will be off stream when the draw is being taken, but it will be done after this game. So Leeds are going to make another change. They're going to make their additional sub that they have due to the game going to extra time. Joel Piroe will be coming on. Now represents Suriname at international level. Made his debut for them in the March international break. Played in their 2-1 defeat in their World Cup playoff semi-final to Bolivia. We'll find out who he's going to replace shortly. Yeah, and some West Ham fans who have left early are not being allowed back in. That is very comical and rather funny, if I'm going to be completely honest. Some of them kind of went, I'm guessing some left, kind of went to the concourse and didn't officially leave the ground completely. Some who left the ground completely have not been allowed back in. So West Ham are going to make another change, and it's going to be two. It's going to be two younger players. First change is going to be Tati Castellanos, who somehow didn't get his goal today, despite one being disallowed 30 seconds into extra time. He's going to be replaced by midfielder Mahamadou Kante, French holding midfielder, who did start the last two FA Cup games against Brentford and against Burton. So an attacker off for a midfielder. And the other change, we'll see Ollie Scars, the left full-back, come on. He was dragged off at half-time against Brentford in the last round. And he is going to replace, I think it's a like for like, I think he has replaced El Hadji Malik Diouf. So Diouf off, and Castellanos for Kante and Scars. And for Leeds, Piroe has come on. I don't know who he's replaced yet. It's not said. Once it does, I'll let you know. But we're underway. West Ham kicking right to left. Leeds left to right towards their away support on that right side of the ground. Piroe getting involved and catching Souček late, but referee allows play to continue. Traore can't quite find the ball to Pablo. Deflects through back to Scales, who gets his first few touches on the ball after coming off the bench at half-time. Drawing extra time. Ball now with the header away for Leeds. Controlled by Nonto. Around the corner, it's a great ball. Aronson touches it for Piroe. Then to the left side now to Justin, as Bogle's the one to come off. So Bogle's come off for Piroe. Looks like Nonto might be taking up a right wing-back position now for the remainder of this game. Strauch down the left channel. It's a good run from Justin. He's timed it right at the moment. Justin, who tries to cross it. That's a very tired ball. And he smiles because he knows how poor that is. And that's a goal kick for West Ham. Don't think those Leeds United fans are laughing and smiling very much, because their team probably should have seen the game through at 2-0 up with 15 minutes to go. But conceding 2 in added on time has led them to this extra time period. Areola with the long goal kick forward. Header won by Ampadu. Up towards Aronson, who brings the ball down and turns away from Kante, but then taken over by Souček for West Ham. Plays to the left side now to Traore. Holds it up. Goes back into the middle towards Souček. Fernandez into his own half now with Kilman. Across to his right to Disasi. Furthest right is Walker-Peters. Goes forward to Bowen. Back to Walker-Peters. Facing his own goal, being closed down by Aronson. Plays it into the middle to Fernandez and then back to Areola. Well kept for West Ham. Big thumping kick again from Areola. Up towards Pablo. Loses out to Beal. It's now Ampadu to take the ball for Leeds. Wanted to go forward but instead turned back. And it's now with Beal. Turning to face his own goal. And then turning forward again and eventually clearing it. Caught late by Pablo. And that's going to be a free kick for Leeds. It's a bit of a striker's challenge there from the Brazilian Pablo. Taken by Beal, the man who won the free kick within his own half. It's now with Gruev. No pressure on him at the moment. Plays the ball to Strauch. And then the cross to Beal. Gruev forward for Piru in between the lines. Can he find a pass out wide left? It does work its way to Justin. Then forward to Piru. On once more to Aronson towards the byline. First cross stopped by Fernandez. And then he's brought down by Aronson. That's a free kick for West Ham. Well won by Mateus Fernandez. Played just the 105 minutes against Brentford. Fernandez, but he's been asked to play a lot more today. The one who kick-started the comeback with the first goal. A tap-in after a Bowen shot which hit the post. Areola. Another long kick. Up towards Pablo. Beal wins the first header. Contact second is Souček. Traore. Great touch. Lifted ball towards Kante. Dealt with by Strauch and Bornau. And the ball will go for a throw-in for West Ham. Trying to make a difference off the bench. Mohamedou Kante. 20 years of age. The French holding midfielder. Who might have to be used in a bit more of an advanced position. Just due to the lack of depth West Ham have got in today's squad. Here's one of the other changes at half-time and extra time. It's Scars into the middle of the park to Fernandez. Bowen's free on the right. Clips it out to him. Walker-Peters on the overlap. Bowen shaping up one-on-one against Aronson. Back in the middle to Fernandez, about 30 yards from goal. Bowen into the middle to Kante. Back out wide to Walker-Peters. Flag stays down for now. Back it goes into Fernandez. First time cross. It's an inviting one. It's a good header away by Strauch. Played forward by Kilman. I don't know what he's doing there. Straight back towards him as he heads it up into the air himself there, Kilman. Poor touch from Piru, but thankfully for him fell to Bornau. And as far as Scars, Kante forward to Pablo. Kante takes over. Gets beyond one Leeds player. Kante beyond the second. Left-footed shot. Just doesn't catch it. Well wide in the end, but it's a progressive and a promising run from Mohamedou Kante off the bench at extra time. Just his 11th first-team appearance. All coming this season. Just didn't get his foot around the ball there, Kante. But at 6'2", he's got that physical presence. Signed in the summer of last season from Paris, but did go back to Paris to spend that season on loan. He got then promoted into Ligue 1 for the first time since 1978. Just less than 10 minutes to go. The Sassy with the header from the goal kick. Headed back forward by Gruev. On the left wing's Calvert-Lewin, bringing the ball forward. Surrounded by West Ham shirts of Fernandez and Walker-Peters. But he goes down and towards the corner flag. The ball still there to be won for both. Last touch off Fernandez should be a Leeds throw-in. It won't be. It's a West Ham ball. I thought it came off Calvert-Lewin last, but clearly it didn't, according to the referee. Throw-in for Walker-Peters right next to the corner flag on the far side for West Ham. Headed on by Souček and Pablo and Kante. Pablo with the touch control, then finds Bowen. Sweeps it to his left to Traore. One-on-one with Bornau. Scarles trying to get forward on the overlap. Traore drives to the other side. Instead, it's a great sliding tackle from Beal. And Traore should have released it, but Beal had other ideas. It's now Piru just inside the West Ham half. He's got the ball stuck under his feet. Tackled by Souček, who's now on the ball in a right-back position for West Ham. Into Disasi. Forward to Fernandez, who's allowed to turn. Goes into the left centre half for Kilman. 8 minutes to go. West Ham again looking the more likely team to score. They are unbeaten in their last 6 at home, West Ham. There's a ball over the top from Fernandez towards Pablo. Will he reach it? No, he doesn't. Leeds have to clear it, and Perry just about gets rid. Lack of communication. Biol wanted more talking from Lucas Perry. Almost allowed a very simple goal for Pablo. Ollie Scarles at left back. Forward to Traore, the number 17. Fernandez thought about a ball into the box towards Pablo. Opts against it, keeps it simple. Disasi just in front of the centre circle in the Leeds half. He's got Bowen out to the right. Finds him. Bowen one-on-one with Justin. Needs an option. Restarts of Kilman on halfway. Scarles. Forward and down the left-hand side to Traore, who got the assist for the equaliser. Stopped in his tracks by Nonto. Great sliding tackle. Throwing for West Ham. Having to do a wing-back job in extra time. Willie Nonto at the moment. West Ham forced all the way back to Areola. Plays it forward to the halfway line now to Disasi. Clips it forward down the middle towards Pablo. Header won by Bornau for Leeds. Fernandez for West Ham. Played forward by Souček. Cleared by Biol. Not convincing. It's now Kante. Try to slip it through for Bowen. Deflects away. But looks by Souček, who nods it out wide left to Traore. Plenty of bodies in the box for the Hammers. Traore on his right foot. Tries the cross. Again, it's another tired delivery. Deflects and goes through to Perry. And it's a Leeds United ball with 6 minutes to play. He's going to go for another big throw to the left-hand side, Perry. Controlled by the chest of Aronson. He's got Justin ahead of him with Piru to his right and Nonto and Calvert-Lewin as well. Has to go back instead to Gruev. Ampadu. Forward to Justin. Back out wide left to Gruev. Down the line for Aronson in the final third. Running at Walker-Peters. Gets on the outside and then puts a ball into the box and it almost goes all the way in. Don't think that was too far wide. It was certainly a cross. Almost ended up in an accidental shot. And Areola's down holding his right foot. He was aiming for either Calvert-Lewin or Nonto, and it's not that far away from goal. So the backup goalkeeper on the bench for West Ham, Finlay Herrick, is going to warm up. He's never played for the senior team. He is a current England under-20 international. Played about 70 minutes in the March international break for England under-20s against Italy. Was part of the West Ham under-18 team that won the FA Youth Cup back in 2023. So Areola, the goalkeeper, struggling with cramp at the moment, which is rare. Maybe it's just a stoppage, obviously, to, of course, keep everyone on the pitch, because if an outfield player was to do such a thing, they'd have to go off. So if the goalkeeper does it, he doesn't have to. So I very much doubt Areola does have cramp, but potentially some of the other outfield players do. But the young goalkeeper, Finlay Herrick, is just half starting to get stripped off. Now this would be one almighty story if the young 20-year-old has to come on for his first ever senior appearance for the club, a club he's been at since the age of 6, started this season at loan in the National League with Bournemouth, then went back into the under-21s and actually lost the National League Cup final with West Ham's under-21s on penalties against Bournemouth, the team he was at earlier on in the season. That's because Mads Hermansson is not in the matchday squad tonight, and neither is Lucas Fabianski. And it's a genuine injury for Alphonse Areola. The young goalkeeper is fully stripped ready now. Lucas Fabianski giving him the last few words. Not a lot to lose for the youngster. It looks like he might only have to really deal with a penalty shootout. We've got 2 minutes left of the game. We'll probably get 3 or 4 minutes added on now. But what a moment this could be. It does seem like the goalkeeper is really struggling. Don't get me wrong, of course he's 33 years of age, but he's not been away for the international break. So I wonder what the injury is. It looks like they were dealing with cramp, but for a goalkeeper to deal with cramp this bad is slightly strange. They're looking maybe it might even be a pulled muscle. When that Aronson shot, cross, which was almost a shot, went in, it's there where the muscle's gone. I don't know if it's a muscle pulled or that's where the cramp started, but he certainly stretched his leg out and it's caused him issues. Nervously, Nuno Espirito Santo watches on. And what an unbelievable FA Cup story this is. Mads Hermansson is not on the bench for West Ham. Lucas Fabianski is not on the bench for West Ham. But Finlay Herrick is. The 20-year-old who's been at the club since the age of 6. He's making his first senior appearance for the club in an FA Cup quarter-final where there's only minutes left before a penalty shootout. And he is met by a huge standing ovation by the West Ham supporters. He might not be getting quite the same welcome from the Leeds fans who are behind that goal, which West Ham currently defend. We're going to get about 4 or 5 minutes added on here before a potential penalty shootout. So he's got a goal kick to deal with first. His first ever touch of the ball as a West Ham senior player for Finlay Herrick. And the goal kick goes out to the left-hand side. It's a big kick as well, straight to Traore, who can touch it on towards Kante. It's a clearance from Strauch. 5 minutes are added on. Just 5 minutes for the young goalkeeper to keep a clean sheet to force penalties. Aronson on the left-hand side. About 15 yards inside the West Ham half. Goes back to the halfway line to Strauch. It's now Ampadu. Forward to Pirri. Tried the first time pass towards Justin. Stopped for West Ham, and then the ball deflects through to the goalkeeper. Off Souček, and he'll take his time picking this up. What a moment for Finlay Herrick. Signed a pro contract at the beginning of the 2023-2024 season. Again, a decent kick out wide right to Bowen, but the header's won by Justin. Cleared back forward by Disasi. No one's to chase it for the Hammers. And it goes through to Lucas Perry in between the sticks for Leeds. Beale with dinked ball forward. It's a good header won by Kilman, intercepting nicely. Kante pulled down on halfway. That's a free kick for West Ham. Fernandez with a ball over the top towards Kante. It's nearly reached the Frenchman. He's had to battle hard. Lucas Perry and Yaka Biol arguing because the centre-back wanted his goalkeeper to come for that, and he's got a point. The last touch comes off the centre-half, which made it reach the goalkeeper, but Lucas Perry's got to come out of his goal. Touch from Calvert-Lewin, finds the path of Piru. On the left-hand side, he crosses in towards Nonto. It's a header won by Scarles. Nonto in the corner of the box, goes out of the box to Ampadu, lifts it in towards Piru, doesn't win the header on Walker-Peters. Ampadu once more, shields it away from Bowen. Ampadu tackled fairly by Kante and the brakes on. Kante through the middle looking for Traore. Bornau also trying to reach it and he gets there well. And it's going to be a throw-in for West Ham. Traore is still down. But that's vital defending from Sebastian Bornau, who came on early in the second half of normal time after the injury from Joe Rodon. Not the worst of passes there from Mohamedou Kante. Almost set away Traore. Good defending. Probably should have been a free kick for Leeds. Just caught by Traore, but the referee's not giving it. Both sets of players now starting to struggle. Coming back off international break. A lot of them would have played a lot of football and travelling a lot of miles. We're closing in on penalties. Scarles with the throw. Back to Fernandez. Kilman. Forward to Souček, then to the right centre half of Disasi. 90 seconds to go of added on time. Disasi clips it forward towards Pablo. Controls it, but Biol with the clearance. Up into the air, control from the chest of Souček. But he overruns. It goes out for a goal kick for Leeds. He's come up strong in key situations late on. Yaka Biol to avoid any late West Ham chances. It's going to be another West Ham change before the shootout. Edra Meyers, the number 63. Usually a centre-back, making his 10th senior appearance. Came through via the academy. He's labelled as calm in possession with a good range of passing. And the 19-year-old's going to come off here and he's going to replace Adama Traore. He's probably had his best performance in a West Ham shirt since joining in January. Provided the assist for the Disasi equaliser at the end of normal time. So Ezra Meyers comes on and he joins the back line to play a back five. Perry with the goal kick deep into the West Ham half. It's a header on from Calvert-Lewin. Headed away by Souček. Will be collected by Gurev. Gets away from Kante. Down the left-hand side. Into the final third. He crosses, which deflects back to him. And he puts another ball in. Headed on by Aronson and then volleyed by Disasi. Up towards Pablo, who wins the contact. To Bowen, who can't take it under control. Kicked out of play by James Justin. We've played the 5 added up. And the referee blows the full-time whistle. And a game that almost kicked off 3 hours ago, we still haven't had a conclusion as it goes to penalty kicks. And West Ham do not have Alphonse Areola in goal. They've got their young 20-year-old Finlay Herrick. Joined the club at age 6 and has come on at the end of extra time for the injured Areola, who looked to have maybe pulled a muscle potentially during extra time. But West Ham did have the ball in the back of the net twice in extra time, both in the first half. First one was within 30 seconds of the restart. Castellanos putting it into an open goal after a poor wayward header from the goalkeeper. But as the ball was played forward towards Castellanos, he was in an offside position. Then later on in the first half of extra time, Bowen had a shot towards goal which rattled the post, just like the shot he had within the normal time to get West Ham the first goal, which came off the post as well, but was put in by Fernandez. This time it was put in by Pablo. But he was offside once as Bowen took the shot. So the young goalkeeper Finlay Herrick goes down the tunnel to get his instructions to where he needs to go for certain penalty kicks. There's a lot of weight on his shoulders. His first ever senior appearance for West Ham. And it's off the bench in an FA Cup quarter-final as he tries to help West Ham reach an FA Cup semi-final for the first time in 20 years. They've lost their last 2 FA Cup quarter-finals. West Ham against Manchester United 10 years ago and against Stoke 15 years ago. And he's coming up against Lucas Perry, the 6'6" Brazilian, who is in goal for their penalty shootout win against Birmingham. Saving 2 of the Birmingham penalties that day. No, saving 1 of the penalties, that day. Lucas Perry, the Tommy Doyle penalty. It's the first penalty shootout we've had, and the only one we're going to have in the FA Cup quarter-final stage for 2026. Yeah, 2 penalties were missed for Birmingham. One of them was saved by Lucas Perry, and he saved Tommy Doyle's. But West Ham, to get to the quarterfinals, won on penalties after a 2-2 draw against Brentford. It's a carbon copy again. It's a 2-2 draw this time against Leeds, which has gone to penalties. So West Ham have won the first toss. They're going to take the penalties towards their own supporters. Let's see who's going to take first. So Leeds, I think, to take first, but West Ham to take them down their end. I know the penalties against Brentford were taken at the opposite end, and West Ham took first that time, so it's a complete switch. Penalties are going to be taken down the other end, and West Ham are also going to take second and not first, from what I gathered there. Or is it West Ham to go first? I thought it was... Let's have a look. Yeah, I think it's Leeds to go first. So it's Herrick against Areola. What a moment for the young 20-year-old. He'd only been on the bench, named on the bench, 4 times previously for West Ham. All 3 of the previous FA Cup games. And then also 1, I think, in the league. And it's going to be Joel Piroe to take first. He scored Leeds' first penalty kick against Birmingham in the 4th round. They'll need him to replicate that feat and get this into the back of the net for Leeds. A team who were 2-0 up with 15 minutes to go, but conceded 2 goals in added on time in normal time, and have survived 2 offside goals in extra time. Joel Piroe, a man who hasn't played much football this season, scored in the 5th round against Norwich, scored his penalty in the 4th round shootout against Birmingham. Can he find at the back of the net for the first penalty in this shootout? Plenty of movement on the line from the young goalkeeper Herrick. Can Piroe dispatch? Left-footed, slow run up. Saved by the goalkeeper! What a moment! Dives to his right and denies Piroe the first goal of the shootout. The FA Cup continues to write scripts that would never be believed until they happen. Cheeky little celebration, giving it to the home crowd behind the goal. The job's not done yet, but that's a brilliant start for West Ham United. And Bowen, who took the first one against Brentford, he scored the first one against Brentford. He's got to do the same now against Leeds. Danny Dyer watches on. Both Danny Dyers watch on in the stands. Jared Bowen left-footed against Perry. Left-footed. Oh, he's saved by Lucas Perry. He's gone to the bottom right corner. And Perry eyeballs the home crowd. And after 1 penalty each, 2 altogether, it's still 0-0. Bowen went a bit higher in the Brentford shootout, but went the same way and he scored. That's a poor penalty, and he'll know it. So it's still 0-0. Piroe left off the hook by his goalkeeper. And here comes Calvert-Lewin, who took the second penalty against Birmingham and scored it in their last shootout in the 4th round. He also scored from the penalty spot within the game in the 75th minute to make it Leeds 2. Can he score the first of the shootout in this? Calvert-Lewin, right-footed shot, run up, and it's down the middle. And in it goes. It's 1-0 to Leeds. Close to it, the 20-year-old goalkeeper, but couldn't keep that one out. Yeah, down the middle, the goalkeeper going to his left, Finlay Herrick. Now it's up for Kyle Walker-Peters to take. Didn't take one against Brentford, because after Bowen, it was Castellanos, who was off the bench, and after Castellanos, it was Wilson, who's not in the matchday squad, and after that, it's Souček, who is on the pitch, and Mavropanos took 5th, who's not in the squad. So they're going to have to be new takers for this shootout. Walker-Peters, right-footed, needing to score to make it level after 2 penalties each. Against Perry, Walker-Peters scores. More of a central penalty, like Calvert-Lewin. Perry diving to his right. And it's 1-1 after 2 each. Yeah, to the right-hand side. Sending the goalkeeper the wrong way. Good penalty from Walker-Peters. So who's up next? For Leeds, it's Brendan Aronson. So it's the same order to the shootout against Birmingham. There will have to be a change after that, though, because Sean Longstaff took the winning penalty against Birmingham and he didn't get off the bench. But can Aronson score his penalty once more? It's again right-footed against the young 20-year-old Finlay Herrick. Scores. Right-hand side of the goal it goes. Herrick dives the opposite way. And it's 2-1 to Leeds. But, of course, West Ham have a penalty in hand as they take second. Calm penalty from Aronson. This is the advantage of going first. It puts so much pressure on the opposite team who have to take after you, especially when you score. So after going 4th in the shootout against Brentford, Thomas Souček is going to have to go 3rd this time around, placing the penalty into the top right corner. And just like the 5th round shootout, Nuno Espirito Santo cannot watch. He is sat on his own in the dugout. Souček against Perry to get it all level at 2-2. Souček takes and goes bottom left and scores. Goes the opposite way and dispatches beautifully. And it's 2-2 after 3 each. Perry going the wrong way. We all know that's it. Well, yeah, but to be fair, that's a huge opportunity if it's West Ham or Leeds against Southampton. Who do you support? I support Stockport County of League One. I also support a Premier League team. I do support 2 teams. I know some people are against that, but I started supporting Stockport County when they were in the 6th division because it was a little bit more affordable to go to county games than it was the team I support in the Premier League. So yeah, County, we're going to Wembley ourselves next week. We'll back on this game. It's going to be Nonto, a new taker against Herrick. He's got to score. Stuttered run up and then powers it into the top left corner. There is a touch off the goalkeeper, but my word, it just about reaches the back of the net. Finlay Herrick went the right way, got the touch to it, and he's telling everyone how close he was. But Leeds take the lead again in the shootout. Like I say, was a part of a shootout in the National League Cup. Finlay Herrick, the National League Cup final, when they lost to Bournemouth and won on penalties, the West Ham under-21s. This is a bit more of a intense and a bit more of a major moment. It's now going to be the Brazilian Pablo brought on at half-time in normal time. He's not scored yet for West Ham, but he could do with scoring from this penalty. Pablos has it saved. Perry guesses right to his right-hand side. And Leeds have got a chance to go through to the semi-finals if they score this next penalty. Shocking penalty. Not enough near the corner. Not enough power. And Perry's saved 2 penalties. And it's Pascal Struijk with the responsibility. Farke with a slight grin on his face. Can Finlay Herrick, the young 20-year-old goalkeeper, come to West Ham's rescue when they need him most? He saved the very first penalty of the shootout. This could be the very last one. Can he save it? Struijk left-footed. A pretty normal angled run-up. Pascal Struijk off the post and in. Leeds United are into the semi-final of the FA Cup. 39 years on from their last appearance. On penalties, they have knocked out West Ham. They had to knock out Birmingham on penalties. They beat them 4-2 away from home. And just like they did against Birmingham, they've done the same to West Ham. 4-2 win on penalties. And all West Ham players and staff run towards the opposite end where their 9,000 supporters are all congregated. They missed the very first penalty of the shootout, but Perry saved the one straight after and then saved West Ham's final spot kick from Pablo. And somehow Leeds United have got themselves through into the semi-final, conceding 2 goals in added on time, then conceding twice in extra time, but both disallowed for offside. They just about got their way through, salvaged their way through to penalties. And Struijk just about getting the ball in the net, hit the inside of the post. And for a lot of those West Ham supporters who left early when they went 2-0 down, are going to have to leave once again. And they have well and truly lost this game. That is now 3 FA Cup quarter-finals in a row for West Ham where they have fell to a defeat. And that ends a Leeds United run of 3 quarter-final defeats in a row. They had lost their last 3. No more. They win. They're through to the semi-finals. They'll take on either Manchester City, Chelsea or Southampton. And you feel like if they can avoid Manchester City, they've got a massive chance to reach a final. They've only won the FA Cup once, Leeds United, back in 1972. And that was 53 years ago. But now they've got a chance to rewrite history. They somehow come through and go through. And it's mad to think that when they were 2-0 up with 15 minutes to go after the Calvert-Lewin penalty, but they completely capitulated in added on time where Fernandes scored in the 93rd minute and Disasi scored in the 96th. But they survived through extra time despite conceding 2 goals in the first half of extra time, both disallowed due to offside callings. And even though they missed the very first penalty, Perry responded by saving West Ham's first, and then it was Pablo to miss for West Ham again with a save from Perry. And the rest scored for Leeds. Dispatched from Calvert-Lewin, from Aronson, from Nonto, and then Struijk. And for the first time in 39 years, Leeds United are into the FA Cup semi-final. Back to Wembley. Lost their last 2 journeys to Wembley. And the last time they reached the FA Cup semi-final, they didn't play their semi-final at Wembley. They played at Hillsborough when they were beaten by Coventry after extra time. But this time, they'll be playing at Wembley. They can see the Archers. They'll be back to London again. And they'll be back here again. These 2 teams have got to play each other in the Premier League final day, which could have a massive sway on both of these seasons because West Ham are in the drop zone by a point. Leeds are out of the drop zone by 4, so it's still very close. So that game on the final day could decide who stays up and who goes down. But for now, for this FA Cup tie, it is finished 2-2 after extra time, 4-2 to Leeds on penalties. And what a game. And after over 3 hours of football, it's Leeds who have gone through. I hope you did enjoy. Make sure you like and subscribe if you have not already. Not sure when the next commentary is going to be. I'm going to try and do one hopefully next weekend, but make sure you subscribe with notifications on so you know exactly when I go live. But in this game, it was Leeds who dominated the first half and had a 1-goal lead through Tanaka. And they doubled their lead in the second half after a penalty given away by Kilman and dispatched by Calvert-Lewin. And after 11 minutes were added on at the end of the game, Fernandez in the 93rd and Disasi in the 96th minute made it 2-2 to West Ham when they looked dead and buried. And it made the game fall through into extra time, where 30 seconds in, Castellanos had the ball in the net, but he was offside as the ball was played forward to him. And also Bowen had a shot that cannoned off the post, and the rebound was put in by Pablo, but unfortunately he was offside as the shot was taken. Leeds were able to squirm their way through into a penalty shootout. The first one was missed by Piru. The young West Ham goalkeeper Finlay Herrick made a heroic save, but the one straight after was saved by Perry on captain Bowen. And then the final missed penalty was by the Brazilian Pablo, this January signing for West Ham. It was saved brilliantly by Perry, and the final penalty was dispatched by Strauch off the post and in, sending Leeds to Wembley for an FA Cup semi-final. It's their first in 39 years as here at the London Stadium. In this FA Cup quarter-final, it finishes West Ham 2, Leeds 2 after extra time, and Leeds march on through after winning 4-2 on penalties.